5 budget policy statement. This is actually a resumption of debate on this motion. And after the completion of the time allocated for debate, the House will then move to vote on the motion. We have a number of bills that are due for division, but that division is pegged on whether the House will be having the numbers at the time the bills will be called. Among them is the Public Fundraising Appeals Bill, Senate Bills number 36 of the year 2024, the Environmental Laws Amendment Bill, the County Civic Education Bill, the Heritage and Museums Bill, and the County Library Services Bill, this being Senate Bills number 40 of the year 2024, and the County Library Services Bill is sponsored by Senator Joyce Correll. Away from that, the report of the Mediation Committee on the Conflict of Interest Bill, this is National Assembly Bills number 12 of the year 2023 by the Chairperson Mediation Committee, is lined up for consideration this afternoon. The Senator for Murang'a County, Senator John Utu, will this afternoon be seeking a statement from the Standing Committee on Matters National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations regarding the case of insecurity and alleged misconduct of certain police officers in Murang'a County. This statement by the Senator for Murang'a will be sought pursuant to Standing Orders of the House, Standing Orders number 53, subsection 1. The Senator for Lamu County, Senator Joseph Kithuku, will this afternoon, yet again, pursuant to Standing Orders number 53, subsection 1, be seeking a statement from the Standing Committee on Matters Finance and Budget regarding the development, this being the development spending in Lamu County for the first half for the financial year 2024-2025. And similarly, Senator Githuku will also be seeking a statement from the Committee on Matters Land, Environment and Natural Resources regarding the compensation status of victims of human-wildlife conflict in Lamu County. On Standing Orders number 52, subsection 1, Senator Hezena Lemantian will be making a statement concerning the increased cases of gang attacks in Samburu County. And Senator Lemaletian also has another statement under 53 subsection 1 on devastating fire outbreaks in Samburu North constituency. The Speaker of the House is already in the chambers this afternoon. My name is Gladys Mungai. Allow me to hand over for this live broadcast brought to you by PBU in partnership with KBC. Enjoy your viewing and have a great afternoon.
Tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, tukusihi tutazame kwa neema nyingi na baraka. Sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuitwa kwa nyadhifa za uongozi katika jamhuri hii yetu. Tukuomba utujalie tuyatende na kufikia mambo yote atakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Clerk, do you have quorum? Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
The business of the Senate has officially commenced this afternoon, and we now have the quorum bell on a ring mode to allow for the proper quoration of the House to commence business this afternoon. We need at least 15 senators for the House to officially commence business this afternoon. As we await for signals from the Sergeant at Arms, we will be doing the head count to ascertain whether the House has the numbers to begin the business this afternoon. The Senate, in the Committee of the Whole, has a number of bills lined up for consideration. Among them is the Early Childhood Education Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 54 of the year 2023, the Local Content Bill, the County Assembly Services Amendment Bill, a bill by Senator Mohamed Chute, and the National Disaster Risk Management Bill, National Assembly Bills number 24 of the year 2023, by the Senate Leader of the Majority Party. The Creative Economy Support Bill, Senate Bills number 30 of the year 2024 by Senator Eddie Okech. The Livestock Protection and Sustainability Bill, Bill number 32 by Senator Lelegwe. And the County Government's Amendment Bill by Senator George Mbugua are some of the bills lined up for a debate this afternoon. The Senator for Taita Taveta County, Senator Jones Maruma, in his motion on the establishment of the National Teaching and Referral Hospitals in Kenya, is seeking to have the Senate of Kenya urge the Ministry of Health to establish national teaching and referral hospitals in the coast, eastern, northeastern, Nyanza, and western regions, and not only establish them, but to keep the national teaching and referral hospitals with modern equipment and medical supplies and personnel. And finally, that the county governments do allocate more funds to their respective health dockets to adequately facilitate their county level 5 and level 6 hospitals in order to enhance the provision of critical health services to reduce the demand for such services from the national teaching and the referral hospitals. Understanding Orders number 53, subsection 1, the Senator for Laikipia, Senator John Kinyua, will be seeking a statement from the Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries regarding the alleged shortage of certified seeds at the Kenya Seed Company. Understanding Orders number 53, subsection 1, we have a total number of 12 senators that are set to be seeking for statements this afternoon. And to just mention a number of them, the other is Senator Mohamed Abbas, who will be seeking a statement from the Standing Committee on Matters Health regarding the outbreak of Kala-Azar disease in Wajir County. Previously, we have had this statement sought by the Senator for Marsabit County on the outbreak of the disease in Marsabit County, and it now appears that the disease is finding its way in Wajir County. This matter will be handled by the Standing Committee on Matters Health on the containment of the Kala-Azar disease. The Senator for Muranga wants the Senate Committee on Matters in Security to investigate alleged misconduct of a certain police officer in Muranga County. We'll be waiting to hear what that misconduct is all about. Senator Professor Tom Ojenda will be seeking a statement from the Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources regarding the viability, sustainability and safety of Ombei dump site in Muhoroni sub-county in Kisumu. The status of land ownership and utilization by the Kenya Prison Service, KPS, is a statement that will be sought this afternoon by Senator Chute. And the Speaker of the Senate will also be communicating to the House on messages from the National Assembly on the decision by the House on the Senate amendments to the Gambling Control Bill, this being a National Assembly Bills number 70 of the year 2023. Senators are streaming into the chamber for the remaining part of the 10 minutes quorum bell as directed by the Speaker this afternoon to give House quorum to commence business this afternoon. And with all the indications is that the quorum has been attained, allow me to hand you over.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Statement pursuant to Standing Order 52-1. Honorable Senator Hezana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 52-1 to make a statement on a matter of general topical concern, namely the increased cases of gang attacks in Samburu County. Mr. Speaker, sir, in recent months, Samburu County has experienced a surge in violent criminal activities perpetrated by gangs, distinguishing themselves as bandits. This escalating insecurity poses a significant threat to the safety of residents and the stability of businesses. Mr. Speaker, sir, the several incidents of criminal attacks have been reported as follows. On the 13th of December 2024, a Lake Oil petrol station along the Kisima-Maralal Road was robbed. During the attack, a night guard sustained injuries, property was vandalized, and a staff member was assaulted. Secondly, on the 25th of February 2025, a shop in Kisima town was raided by armed gangs, and on the 9th of March 2025, a businessman in Wamba town was brutally attacked and killed. His 2 sons were critically injured and are currently receiving treatment at Wamba Hospital. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is deeply concerning that Samburu County remains severely understaffed in terms of police personnel, leaving urban centers vulnerable to criminal activities. It is unacceptable that businesses are shutting down and residents are forced to live in constant fear due to the deteriorating security situation. Mr. Speaker, sir, I therefore urge the Ministry of Interior and National Administration, along with all relevant security agencies, to take immediate and decisive action to 1, conduct thorough investigations into these criminal incidents and ensure that all perpetrators are arrested and brought to justice. Secondly, deploy additional security personnel across the affected areas and the entire Samburu County while equipping them with the necessary resources to effectively combat violent crime. And last but not least, to implement long-term security strategies to curb the rising cases of armed robberies, business attacks, and other criminal activities. This should include enhanced coordination between security agencies and the local communities to improve crime prevention and intelligence gathering. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Statements pursuant to Standing Order 53-1. Honorable Senator Hezana.
Mr. Speaker, sir, this is a request for a statement on the devastating fire outbreaks in Alberta Plains in Samburu County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Lands, Environment and Natural Resources regarding the devastating fire outbreaks in Alberta Plains in Samburu North Constituency, Samburu County. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Alberta Plains is a critical grassland ecosystem that has historically supported thousands of livestock and wildlife. It is one of the last remaining intact land cover areas in Samburu County and serves as a vital refuge for pastoralists during droughts. The recent wildfires have destroyed vast swaths of land, severely threatening livelihoods, biodiversity, and regional stability. Mr. Speaker, the multiple fire outbreaks have been recorded, beginning with a blaze on the 1st of February 2025 in Ilba Oibor, which spread rapidly to Derende, destroying over 1,000 acres. Subsequently, fires erupted in Tirim Lolderkesi on 7th February 2025, burning for 4 days, and again on 13th of February 2025, affecting Sikira Plain, El Kangura Loregel, and Martia Plateau, with flames raging for 8 days consistently. In March, fires continued with an incident on the 4th of March 2025, burning for 5 days from Nagis to Lomirog Hill. Another fire broke out on the 7th of March 2025 in North Sudan and Iltepes. In total, more than 30,000 acres of crucial forage have been lost. Mr. Speaker, sir, despite prompt reporting to the County Disaster Department and information sharing with the local community, there was no effective response due to inadequate disaster preparedness in the region. Security agencies were notified and efforts were made by the Gravy Zebra Trust along with conservancy rangers to control the fires, but they were overwhelmed. In the statement, the committee should: 1. Investigate the causes of fires, including potential natural factors or human activities such as arson, land disputes, or illegal practices. Secondly, state whether there are plans to enhance security measures to facilitate community participation in disaster mitigation and to establish a regional disaster response unit equipped to handle wildfires. Third, assess disaster preparedness and recommend the establishment of mobile fire units, regional fire stations, and aerial firefighting support. Fourth, implement fire prevention and emergency response training for local community and conservancy rangers. And fifth, propose legislative measures to improve wildfire response and interagency coordination and disaster mitigation strategies. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Alexander Mundigi.
Mr. Speaker, sir, request of the statement on tarmacking of the Chicago-Kanyuambora Road in Embu County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to check a statement from the Standing Committee on Loans, Transportation and Housing regarding tarmacking of the Chicago, Soko, Kamomo, Kanyuambora Road in Berry North, Sub-County, Embu County. Mr. Speaker, sir, this road serves as a crucial economic corridor for the residents of Berry North, and its completion is vital for the economic growth of the region. Construction on the road, which covers an approximate distance of 35 kilometers, commenced in 2021. However, in 2023, the project was retendered, and to date, only 3 kilometers have been constructed. In the statement, the committee should address the following. 1. State the estimated cost for the construction of the above-mentioned road and clarify the reasons for the inordinate delay in completion of this road following the retendering in 2023. And 2. Explain why the contractor is not on site and give timelines within which the minister is planning to complete the road. Senator Alexander Munyimondigi, Embu County.
Senator Beatrice Agola. That statement is deferred. Senator Kinyu.
Request for a statement on the shortage of certified seeds at the Kenya Seed Company Limited. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries regarding the shortage of certified seeds at the Kenya Seed Company Limited. In the statement, the committee should address the following. 1. The current shortage of certified maize seeds at the Kenya Seed Company Limited. 2. The measures in place to ensure the availability of seeds in the view of approaching planting season. And 3. The availability and quality of other certified seeds at the said company. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Githuku. Senator Githuku, you have 2 statements. May proceed to read both.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Lands, Environment and Natural Resources regarding the compensation status of the victim of human-wildlife conflicts in Lamu County. The Speaker, in the statement, the committee should provide a report of all human-wildlife conflict claims from 2022 to date, including details of the nature of claims, incident date, claims of submission date, amount claimed, and payments date. Number 2, present an update of all paid and pending claims, reasons for non-payment, and expected timeline for the settling standing claims. Number 3, specify the standard duration of claim settlement and outline measures to be taken against the Kenya Wildlife Service, KWS, if payments exceeding the stipulated period exceeds. Number 4, state any measures the government has put in place to curb the rising incidents of human-wildlife conflicts in Lamu County. The next statement, Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Finance Budget regarding the development spending in Lamu County for the first half of the financial year 2024-2025. In the statement, the committee should identify the specific factors that have contributed to Lamu County's dismal development absorption rate of less than 5%, detailing any administrative, financial, or logistical challenges that hindered development in the first half of the financial year 2024-2025. Number 2, provide a detailed breakdown of the development budget allocated for Lamu County in the first financial year of 2024-2025, specifying approval estimates, actual disbursement, and expenditure levels. Number 3, disaggregate the unspent development funds by sector, identifying affected projects and budgetary allocation and the implications of delays in non-implementation. Number 4, assess the implementation status of the county's annual development budget plan, ADP, detailed project milestones, deviation from the planned timelines, and collect measures undertaken, highlighting any project that have been delayed or abandoned. Number 5, Honorable Speaker, outline the physical and administrative strategies the county government has adopted to ensure absorption in the second half of the financial year 2024-2025, including monitoring frameworks and accountability mechanism, and submit supporting documentation to the Senate. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Joe Newt.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations regarding the insecurity and misconduct of certain police officers in Murang'a County. In the statement, the committee should address the following. 1, the circumstances surrounding the death of Ms. Chista Modhoni, a grade 8 pupil at Wambwe Primary School that occurred in Wambwe Village, Mathioya constituency on 7th January 2025, including the actions being taken to expedite the investigation into the death and to ensure that the perpetrators are apprehended and brought to book. 2, the intimidation and arrests of Ms. Egidia Wairimo, Ms. Lucy Murage, and Ms. Nancy Joki on 25th February 2025, following their comments in media regarding the death of Bibi Ezra Wamaitha from Maragua town and overall rise in insecurity in Murang'a County, explaining the measures put in place to safeguard the constitutionality guaranteed freedom of expression. 3, the disciplinary action taken against Mr. James Wahome, who was recently transferred from Kanyenyene Police Station in Kanyenyene Ward, Kangema constituency, following multiple complaints by some residents who reported being assaulted and brutalized by police officers on diverse dates between 30th December 2024 and 7th January 2025. 4, the status of compensation of the victims of assault and brutality perpetrated by James Wahome. For Joe Newto, Senator Murang'a. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Bas Sheikh.
Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 531 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee of Health regarding the outbreak of Kalaza in Wajir County. Honorable Speaker, Kalaza is a severe and potentially vital disease that's transmitted by sandflies. It thrives in conditions of poor housing, malnutrition, and weakened immune systems. Several cases have been reported in Wajir, including death, necessitating urgent medical, logistical, and financial interventions to prevent further fatalities and contain its spread. Honorable Speaker, the control of pandemics and disasters and emergencies is actually the responsibility and functions of the national government. The counties don't have testing kits. This thing, Kalasa requires a special kit for identification, a special testing kits. However, on many times. You remember Honorable Speaker, 3 weeks ago, the same issue has been raised by my colleagues, Marsabit. And it has already spread to Turkana, Mandera, Wajir, and this is my spread even to the rest part of the country. Honorable Speaker, in the statement, the committee should identify the underlying factors contributing to the outbreaks and outline mitigation measures to prevent further spread, including the distributions of insect-treated bed nets, fumigations, and community sensitization on preventive measures. 2, provide details on whether the Ministry of Health has deployed a medical emergency response team to assess the situation, provide immediate treatment, and enhance surveillance. 3, clarify whether essential medical supplies, including antihistaminic drugs, rapid diagnostic kits, and IV fluids have been dispatched to the affected health facilities. 4, outline any initiative fostering collaborations between Wajir County government and the national government to strengthen referral systems, ensuring timely case management and reduce mortality rates, and instead the plans in place to prioritize funding for neglected tropical diseases such as Kalaza to support long-term prevention and control efforts in the region. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mohammed Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. My statement is on the status of land ownership and utilization by the Kenya Prison Services, KPS. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources regarding the status of land ownership and utilization by the Kenya Prison Service. In the statement, the committee should address the following. Number 1, the total acreage of land owned by Kenya Prison Service in respective counties, specifying the number of parcels with ownership documentation and those without documentation. Number 2, the measures put in place to expedite the issuance of title deeds for the parcels without ownership documentation, including timeline for issuance of the title deeds. Number 3, the acreage and location of parcel of Kenya Prison Service land that have been allocated for the affordable housing program, disclosing the number of housing units to be developed on each parcel and the identities of the respective developers. Number 4, the acreage and location of parcel of KPS land, Kenya Prison Service, that have been illegally occupied and encroached upon, stating whether KPS has taken steps to reclaim this parcel of land, and if so, provide an update on the progress. Number 5, the measures put in place to prevent further encroachment or illegal occupation of Kenya Prison Service land. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Professor Tom Ojanda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have 3 statements. Mr. Speaker, the first statement is on the welfare of National Government Administration Officers in Kisumu County. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations regarding the welfare of National Government Administrative Officers in Kisumu County. Mr. Speaker, chiefs, assistant chiefs, deputy county commissioners, DCCs, and other national government administrative officers play a crucial role in maintaining law and order, implementing government programs, and enhancing service delivery at the grassroots level. However, Mr. Speaker, concerns have been raised regarding their working conditions, remuneration, housing, medical cover, retirement benefits, and participation in cooperative savings schemes such as SACCOs. In the statement, the committee should, 1, provide a report on the current terms of service for chiefs, assistant chiefs, DCCs, and other national government administrative officers in Kisumu County, including details on salary scales, allowances, and retirement benefits. 2, clarify on the access to affordable housing, particularly whether the government has any initiatives to provide decent accommodation for these officers within the county. 3, explain if enrollment to their respective SACCOs is mandatory, specifying the number of officers benefiting from the cooperative savings and loan schemes. 4, provide information on the medical insurance cover available to these officers and their dependents, and state measures in place to improve their working conditions, including transport facilitation, office infrastructure, and access to legal protection while performing their duties. And lastly, table a report on the specific challenges faced by the national government and administrative officers in Kisumu County in the execution of their mandate, along with the government's intervention in addressing these issues. Mr. Speaker, my second statement is on the viability, suitability, and safety of Ombei dam site in Muhoroni sub-county, Kisumu County. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Land, Environment, and Natural Resources regarding the viability, suitability, and safety of Ombei dam site in Muhoroni sub-county, Kisumu County. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ombei dam site has raised significant concerns among residents due to its impact on agricultural activities, air quality, and the environment. Section 3 of the Environment Management and Coordination Act, EMCA, guarantees the right to a clean and healthy environment, while Section 8 of the same Act prohibits hazardous waste handling and disposal. The law further mandates safe waste management practices to prevent pollution and environmental degradation. Mr. Speaker, the Ombei dam site has failed to comply with waste management regulations outlined in EMCA. Additionally, Article 186(1) of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, read together with Part 2G of the 4th Schedule, assigns the responsibility of waste management, including refuse removal, dam sites, and solid waste disposal, to county governments, in this case, Kisumu County. In the statement, the committee should, 1, establish whether adequate public participation was conducted before designating the Ombei dam site as a waste dumping ground. 2, provide the Senate with the Environmental Impact Assessment Report, EIA, conducted before and after the site was established. 3, outline measures taken by the county government to address health risks, such as respiratory issues caused by air pollution, as well as contamination affecting crops, specifically sugarcane and water resources. 4, specify the alternative waste management strategies in place to prevent air, soil, and water pollution, and clarify whether there are plans to rehabilitate affected farmlands and mitigate environmental damage. And lastly, state whether the county government has plans to establish a waste-to-energy or recycling plant and provide timelines for its implementation. Mr. Speaker, my last statement is on flood response mitigation in Kisumu County. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations regarding flood response mitigation in Kisumu County, particularly in the areas affected by recent flooding in Nyando constituency and vulnerable regions in Kisumu County. In the statement, the committee should provide an update on actions taken by both national and county governments to address the impact of recent floods, including efforts to relocate and support displaced families. 2, provide information on the ongoing nutrition program for flood-displaced victims supported by UNICEF and French Embassy, including details on the number of beneficiaries, specific interventions provided, and expected duration of the program. 3, explain measures being implemented to prevent malnutrition among children, pregnant women in affected flood areas, including access to food, healthcare, and clean water. 4, provide details on any additional funding or support being mobilized to explain the nutrition program and enhance flood disaster preparedness. 5, describe the coordination mechanisms between the county and the national government, as well as humanitarian organizations, to ensure efficient disaster response and relief distribution. And lastly, explain the strategies for the long-term flood mitigation and climate resilience in Nyando and other flood-prone areas of Kisumu County, including measures to prevent recurrent displacement and food security. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, I will allow comments on the statements for a period not exceeding 20 minutes. So, honorable senators, if you get an opportunity to speak, keep it under 3 minutes. The honorable senator for Vihiga County, Senator Osots.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to support the statement by Kisumu Senator on the issue of conditions of working for police officers. Mr. Speaker, this matter, I think we have talked about it for quite some time now in the public discourse and even in this House. And I think it is important that attention be given to this matter. We have seen rising cases of suicide among police officers. We have seen rising cases of insecurity, which is attributed to the morale and even the quality of working environment that the police are exposed to. So I hope that the relevant committee will look at this matter keenly and recommend measures so that we can have our officers living in the right environment, and that will help them provide the security that we need. The second statement, Mr. Speaker, is a statement by the Senator of Lamu on the issue of development budget spending for his county. I want to associate with that statement and the other statements that other members have raised on the similar matter. But, Mr. Speaker, allow me to raise a concern. We have had a significant number of senators raising similar statements on the issue of budget and pending bills and general financial matters in our county, which are directed to the relevant committee of finance. But, Mr. Speaker, we are beginning to see some committees also dealing with the same matter of pending bills and such things. I think we are going to confuse ourselves on this matter of pending bills, taking into account that the minority whip, Senator Olekina, came up with a very good motion which this House passed. And also the relevant Committee of Finance has also been handling this matter of pending bills. It is confusing if we allow other committees to start working on the same matter and inviting the same county government to appear before them. We will get confused, and I want to suggest that we uphold the motion that we passed here on the matter of budget and pending bills and work towards its implementation in full. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I support and I want to associate myself with those statements. Mr. Speaker, you know, the minority leader is looking unusual today. That's why, like a shake. So I don't know what has changed. Maybe, Mr. Speaker, minority leader should tell us whether he has changed his religion from Christianity to
Senator Veronica Ndwati.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to comment on the statement which has been brought to this House by Senator John Nyoto from Murang'a County. Honorable Speaker, it's my hope and prayer that when the committee retreats, the Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations retreats, to consider the insecurity that has been happening within Murang'a County, the investigations or whatever process they undertake, they are going to unfold the circumstances surrounding the death of Ms. Joychista Mudhoni, a grade 8 student at Wambwe Primary School that occurred in Wambwe Village, Madhioya constituency on 7th January 2025. Honorable Speaker, I do hope and trust that the perpetrators are not walking free in Murang'a County and posing a risk to other students or other people within the county. It's my hope and prayer that when the committee handles this matter, it's given the attention that it deserves, especially noting that it's a minor who was involved and the perpetrators are adults. The best interest of those pupils in that Wambwe Primary School and in other primary schools in Murang'a and in other counties, Honorable Speaker, would demand that proper investigations are done and they are made public, Honorable Speaker, and that the perpetrators are brought to book. Honorable Speaker, it is also pathetic to note that some bloggers or people who posted circumstances surrounding the death of Baby Wamaitha in Maragua town, including Miss Egidia Wairimo, Miss Lucy Morage, and Miss Nancy Joki, on 25th, just because of expressing their views within the media, they were put under arrest, Honorable Speaker. I would say this is a shame, because if one person has lost a baby, Baby Wamaitha, a whole child has died out of circumstances surrounding insecurity and violent action from perpetrators, Honorable Speaker. It is very shocking that the police officers dared to arrest Kenyans who had expressed their distaste and their disgust at the violence that was meted out on a very young baby who was not only killed on that day, Honorable Speaker, but was also defiled and put in a well. So I hope when the committee retreats, these issues are going to be treated with a lot of seriousness, the kind of seriousness that it deserves, and that answers will be given to the House. And finally, Honorable Speaker, it is unfortunate that one police officer, Mr. James Wahome, who was actually...
Just give the Honorable Senator 1 minute to conclude her remarks.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, because this police officer was actually working in a police station, which is next to my mother's house, Kanyanyaine Police Station. And I watched some of the videos where this police officer walked to a bus stage and literally beat people up with a very huge cane, Honorable Speaker. And he clobbered anybody who did not give him the money he was demanding. I watched those videos. So when the committee retreats, we want to know whether the police service has a psychosocial support unit, because he did not even look like he was on his normal day, a sane moment. He seemed to be going through another set of, I don't know what the doctors would call it, but we want to know whether the police service actually has a psychosocial support, because transferring such an officer does not give answer to Kenyans. You cannot transfer trouble from one police station to another police station. That must be handled, and the help that is needed for such an officer must be given. And we want to hear what kind of a structure the police have put in place, because the welfare of our police officers, Honorable Speaker, has been demanding attention from their housing, their welfare. We have had very many police officers shooting one another in police stations. I don't know what kind of frustration they are going through. But if it's about salaries, their housing, their welfare, how they are being treated by the public, Honorable Speaker, it is high time that the report that was given by former CJ Justice Maraga is made public, and the implementation of all the resolutions that are put within that report, Honorable Speaker, are also looked into, so that we do not just have reports without implementation of the action that is laid down in that report. So we want to hear.
Senator Olekina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I raised to contribute to two statements. One statement which is really baffling is the statement raised by the distinguished senator from Wajir. 2 weeks ago, the distinguished senator from Marsabit raised the same statement on this Kalaza. Mr. Speaker, Kalaza is a very dangerous disease. In most cases, we only used to hear about Kalaza from India, and it's associated with poverty. That means there are serious underlying issues that are affecting our people in the north. The issue of poverty, and if this issue, the Ministry of Health does not take serious concern, it will now spread rapidly, even in those other areas of Kisumu, where the distinguished senator from Kisumu was raising a statement about the dangers of flood. Kalaza will end up there. We need to be serious on this matter. It would be sad for us to hear that statement again be raised. So I really would like to request the Ministry of Health to really move expeditiously and the two county governments to work together to deal with this issue of this disease. Secondly, it is the issue of insecurity in Samburu. The distinguished senator from Samburu, the deputy minority whip, raised that issue last week. Today, the nominated senator from Samburu, Hezena, has raised the issue of serious insecurity in Samburu County. If we keep on talking about these things and we don't take action, people are going to suffer. So it is about time that the Ministry of Interior takes serious action. And I would like to request the committee chairs, the two committee chairs, the one for health and the one for security, to be able to now move to the departments, go to the ministry. Let's not even wait for us to go through the secretariat and send these statements or transmit the statement. Let us take action. I was so impressed yesterday with the speaker when he saw people protesting, and he directed two of our colleagues to be able to go and receive that statement and deal with it. This is the only way. When we become proactive as leaders, is the only way that we can be able to resolve these problems. So, Mr. Speaker, the issue of Kalaza, it is a timing bomb. The issue of insecurity in Samburu, it is another one. We don't deal with it, we will be counting casualties. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mungatana.
I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to comment on the statement by the Honorable Senator for Kisumu on the question of floods. Mr. Speaker, many times when we talk about floods, we talk about flood mitigation, and then we go up to that point where people are requesting for support. And then we go and end the story at that point where people are saying thank you for the support. But Mr. Speaker, the monies that are utilized to fund these activities are never investigated or reported. Mr. Speaker, the committee that was formed in Tana River County, for example, that was to spearhead fundraising, has never reported how much money they raised, how much money was disbursed, who was involved in those contracts. Mr. Speaker, the national government also was involved in massive distribution of relief food and non-food items. Again, Mr. Speaker, these were never disclosed. The funds that were utilized were never disclosed. Other international bodies like Red Cross and World Food Program and all these, they came in to support us and we are grateful. But again, the finances and the monies that were put towards flood mitigation measures and flood mitigation support, again, they were never disclosed. Mr. Speaker, I think that the committee should also investigate, call the relevant people involved and the organizations to find out what monies were utilized. Because if this doesn't become the way to operate, then, Mr. Speaker, every time we have disasters like floods, we are also going to have people who will take advantage, and then floods become a way to earn money and to make people rich instead of actually dealing with the problems that are there. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sifuna.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think for me, the statement by the Senator for Lamu is most critical, Honorable Speaker. We're halfway through the term of this Parliament and the term of everybody who was elected in 2022. The entire discussion for the remainder of the period should be about development and development spending. Honorable Speaker, here in Nairobi, we had a very curious, information from the control of budget that in fact the county of Nairobi had spent zero on development in the last financial year. I'm very happy that the Committee on Devolution, chaired very ably by Senator for Wajir Abbas, has scheduled a conversation with my county government so that we go through every single coin that has been pushed through this Senate to the county government of Nairobi in the 2 financial years, and want to be told where this money has gone. Honorable Speaker, there should be nothing else we discuss. And although I share the concerns by Senator Osotsi on the confusion on which committee handles which committee, which matter, I am more than pleased to have these governors appearing in all of our committees, because Senator Abbas will focus on development spending, fiscal responsibility will be the duty of finance and budget. We need to have these conversations, and in fact, if we do nothing else for the remainder of the term, let us have that conversation on development spending. Because even you look at the report of the Auditor General, many of our counties are spending much higher amounts on recurrent expenditure. People are doing up to 60%, and nothing is happening on the development side. There was also a very interesting conversation, Honorable Speaker, about even national government spending in our counties. Whereas everybody is clear on how much money goes to their counties through devolution, we are not very clear on how much money the national government spends in our respective counties. And I would want that the Finance Committee focuses even on that, Honorable Speaker. We want to know of the entire amount of money, the 2 trillion Kenya shillings that is reserved to the national government, how much money has been spent in my county on roads, for instance, on education, because I saw the president around, and most of the projects he was launching were projects that were either undertaken by the county government or by the national government CDF through the members of parliament. We want to know his Ministry of Sports, for instance, or tourism, or even public works, how much money of the national government share has been spent in our individual counties, because that is the only way, Honorable Speaker, we can ascertain that there is equity in spending of national resources, especially remembering that national government will borrow without any reference to the county governments or indeed this house. But that spending, we have no sight over it. That spending will be spent however they want, but when it comes to payment, all of us are on the hook. So, Honorable Speaker, this is a conversation we should focus on for the remainder.
Senator Chimera.
Asante Bwana Spika kwa fursa hii. Nipende tu kuchangia kwa ile hoja ya Senator John Yutu kutoka Murang'a kuhusu kifo cha yule Bi Joista Muchina nafikiri. Kwanza nipiane rambirambi zangu kwa familia ya mwenda zake kwa kupoteza maisha yake kupitia mikono ya watendakazi wetu wa usalama. Bwana Spika, ni kinaya kuona kwamba wale maafisa wa polisi ambao wanafaa kutupatia usalama sisi kama wananchi ndio wao wako mstari wa mbele kuhakikisha kwamba wametoa maisha ya binadamu wetu. Bwana Spika, Bwana Spika, hatua ile ya maafisa wa polisi kujihusisha na masuala ambayo ni ya kigaidi, ni masuala ambayo yanahakikisha kwamba wananchi wetu wanapoteza uhai, nafikiri sio sawa Bwana Spika. Nataka nipeane ilani kali sana kwa maafisa ambao watapatikana katika swala hili Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, vile vile nichukue fursa hii nizungumzie tu kuhusu kudorora kwa usalama pale Kazamoyo, eneo bunge la Kinango, ambapo utapata maafisa wa usalama hususan kikosi cha GSU wameweza kuhangaisha wananchi wetu pale Kazamoyo kiolela olela. Wananchi wamepigwa vita na maafisa wetu wa usalama, vile vile wengine wamejeruhiwa, wengine pia wamepoteza uhai wao kwa sababu ya swala lote hili la maafisa wa usalama kukosa kudhibiti usalama Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, nafikiri nitake tu kuiomba kamati hii ya usalama ifanye kazi yao kwa undani sana. Afisa atakayepatikana na hatua yoyote, Bwana Spika, kamati hii ichukulie hatua kali, waweze kushikana na ile kamati ya IPOA na maafisa hawa wa usalama wapelekwe kotini, waachishwe kazi, ili iwe funzo kwa maafisa wa usalama wengine kwamba sio vyema mwananchi wa Kenya leo hii anaweza kupoteza uhai yake kupitia kwa mikono ya maafisa hawa. Nimpongeze sana Senator John Nyutu kwa kuleta hoja hii hapa bungeni, na nina imani kwamba kamati hii itaweza kufanya kazi ambayo itaweza kudhihirisha Wakenya wote na kuhakikisha kwamba hatua kali zimechukuliwa dhidi ya maafisa hawa ambao wanakosa nidhamu na wanahakikisha kwamba wananchi wetu wanaweza kupoteza maisha yao kupitia mikononi mwao. Asante sana Bwana Spika.
Senator Faki.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii kuchangia taarifa, maombi ya taarifa yaliyoletwa bungeni na Senator Abbas, Senator wa Wajia, ambaye amezungumzia masuala ya ugonjwa wa Kalazar, ambao ugonjwa huu umeingia katika kaunti za kaskazini. Wiki iliyokwisha tukizungumzia kaunti ya Marsabit na sasa tunazungumzia kaunti ya Wajia. Mheshimiwa Spika, zamani wakuwa afya ilikuwa haijagatuliwa, ilikuwa ni shida kuweza kupata wataalamu wa kuweza kupambana na majanga kama haya kwa muda mfupi zaidi, lakini inaonekana Mheshimiwa Spika, kaunti zetu hazijaweza kufanya mipango yoyote kuhusiana na magonjwa kama haya. Inakuwaje ugonjwa unaingia, wananchi wanafariki, sio mmoja, labda wawili watatu? Ripoti ya magazeti juzi ilikuwa yasema kwamba watu kadhaa wamepoteza maisha yao kwa sababu ya ugonjwa huu. Na ni ugonjwa Mheshimiwa Spika ambao unaweza kutibiwa na unaweza kuepukwa pia wakati wananchi wataweza kuzingatia usafi ili kupambana na masuala kama haya. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, ni muhimu kaunti zetu, bunge hili liweze kuangalia ni vipi kaunti zetu zinapambana na majanga, kwa sababu hii inaonekana ni kwamba hakuna maandalizi yoyote katika kupambana na majanga kama haya ambayo yanatokea mara kwa mara katika kaunti zetu na kupoteza maisha ambayo tungeweza kuyaokoa kwa masuala kama haya. Mheshimiwa Spika, tulipopambana na janga la COVID, kaunti nyingi ziliweza kujitayarisha na zikawa zimejenga mpaka vyumba vya wagonjwa mahututi, lakini sasa tunashikwa na magonjwa madogo madogo kama haya ambayo yanaweza kutibiwa na yanaweza pia kuepuka iwapo kaunti zetu zitakuwa imara katika kuangalia afya ya umma katika maeneo yao. Mheshimiwa Spika, pia ningependa kutoa maoni yangu kuhusiana na maombi ya taarifa ya Seneta Githuku, seneta wa Lamu, kuhusiana na ulipaji wa ridhaa kwa watu wanaoathiriwa na masuala ya kushambuliwa na wanyamapori, Mheshimiwa Spika, katika maeneo yetu. Mheshimiwa Spika, hili pia limekuwa ni donda sugu, na juzi tulipata fursa ya kukutana na waziri, na tumemwambia waziri kwamba tungependa tupewe orodha ya wale ambao wamelipwa kuanzia mwaka 2020 mpaka leo, ili tujue kama malipo yanakwenda kulingana na wale ambao wameumia zamani ama malipo yanalipwa kulingana na wale wanaojua maofisa wanaolipa. Kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Spika, kuna wengi wana madai kama haya, wameshambuliwa na wanyama, wengine walifariki, familia zao hazijapata ridhaa, wengine wana vilema, familia zao hawajapata ridhaa. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, ni muhimu waziri aweze kueleza na atoe
1 minute, Honorable Senator.
Ni vipi wanafanya malipo haya. Kuna wengine pia wamepeleka madai ghushi ambao pia wameweza kulipwa, wakati wale ambao wanastahili kulipwa, Mheshimiwa Spika, bado wanangojea na hawajulikani watalipwa lini. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika.
Senator Esi Okenyure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to support the statement by Senator Professor Tom Ojienda on the general welfare of national government administrative officers. Mr. Speaker, these are our eyes. The eyes of the government on the ground are the grassroots, and they encounter challenges day in, out. Take, for instance, the case of local assistant chiefs and chiefs. Initially, there would even be security in their areas of operation. Right now, Mr. Speaker, the chiefs and assistant chiefs are just left with a swagger cane which they carry around all the meetings we engage in. So, Mr. Speaker, I feel as a country we now need to prioritize their welfare, even regular trainings, so that they are conversant with the recent happenings in terms of conflict resolution. And we also need more security enhanced, especially in the border areas, because sometimes these officers are attacked by criminals who are hostile towards whatever they are doing, which is largely affecting their work, especially in the fight against illicit brew. Mr. Speaker, I also want to comment on the statement by Senator Joe Nyutu on the grade 8 young child who was actually killed. We are recently losing the future of this country because every day you read statistics on the national newspaper or media. We are reading of children who are either being molested, children who are being trafficked, children who are being sold even before they actually get to know what is in them in this country, Mr. Speaker. I also wish to comment on the issue, on the statement on dumping. Mr. Speaker, the issue about dumping is largely affecting county governments across this country. And such issues of low sanitation is what is actually even bringing the outbreaks of diseases which would otherwise have been prevented if we avoided disposing waste product anyhow, Mr. Speaker, so that we have a population which is actually responsible enough to avoid dumping, or systems of government which are able to ensure that we are providing, even in marketplaces or places where we are likely to encounter dumping, so that people have places to dispose waste products, Mr. Speaker. And finally, the issue of the welfare of police in this country. We cannot expect the police officers to give security whereas they live in a very sorry state. We need to also treat them as other officers who are serving in public service in this country, so that they are
Senator Githuk.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to associate myself with the statement sought by Senator Professor Tom Ojenda of Kisumu County regarding the floodings in Kisumu County. Honorable Speaker, as we draw near to the rainy season, Honorable Speaker, it is imperative that the government put in place some measures that can be able to support and help the people of this country. Honorable Speaker, we have seen in different instances that some people really suffer during the rainy season. There was a time that, Honorable Speaker, we had a problem in Lamu County whereby so many people were displaced, their properties destroyed, and Honorable Speaker, there was no compensation. Honorable Speaker, these are members of the Republic of this, actually, and they're supposed to be taken care by the government because, Honorable Speaker, they are taxpayers, and it is very important that in the event that such a disaster strikes, the national government takes in place or looks into these people so that, Honorable Speaker, they can be helped because actually, Honorable Speaker, they are vulnerable. Honorable Speaker, I also wish to urge the county governments, especially or particularly the governors of the 47 counties. Honorable Speaker, in most instances, the governors hide in the courts of the national government. Sometimes they are left the disasters to be dealt by the national government, whereas sometimes governors, or most of the times, they have a kitty that is supposed to help the citizens in the event that the disaster strikes. Honorable Speaker, it is very good, very well if the county government can see to it that they also chip in terms of helping members of the public that they represent in different parts of this country, so that, Honorable Speaker, that funds that has been allocated for disaster can be used effectively, Honorable Speaker, so that the citizen of this country, Honorable Speaker, can enjoy the fruits of devolution. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Miraj.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa fursa hii, na mimi niweze kutilia pondo statement iliyoletwa na seneta wa Murang'a Bwana Nyutu kuhusiana na maafisa wa polisi ambao wameendelea kutumia mamlaka yao vibaya. Pale kwetu kwenye gatuzi ya Mombasa, yuko mwanamke mmoja katika eneo la Likoni aliweza kupigwa risasi akiwa ndani ya nyumba yake, na tunaweza kutoa idhibati ya kisanga hicho Bwana Spika. Cha kusikitisha ni kwamba aliyekuwa na bunduki ile alikuwa ni mfanyikazi wa serikali yetu ya Kenya na ni mwanajeshi. Cha kushangaza mpaka sasa, hata baada ya kuwa kulikuwa na utepetefu katika mamlaka ya askari kama yule, hakuna fidia ambayo imepeanwa kwa jamii ile, wala kufuatiliwa kwa jambo lile, wala anwani yoyote kuandikwa katika kituo cha polisi chochote, kwa sababu mume wa yule mwenda zake aliweza kwenda katika kituo cha polisi na alinyimwa hadi kuandika statement ya kifo cha mke wake. Bwana Spika, nikiendelea kutamaushwa na mazungumzo haya ni kwamba wanaopeana usalama maafisa wa polisi, kituo cha Central Police kiko mita 100 kutoka uwanja wa Makadara Ground pale Mombasa. Cha kushangaza ni kwamba watoto wanaorandaranda waliweza kuwapiga mawe wananchi katika msimu huu wa Ramadhani Bwana Spika, na hakuna hatua yoyote ilichukuliwa paka baada ya jisaji moja. Hii ni kuashiria ya kwamba wananchi wa Kenya Bwana Spika wako peke yao, hakuna mtu wa kuwaangalia, hakuna mtu wa kuwalinda. Bwana Spika, nikimalizia, tunaelekea katika msimu wa mvua nyingi, na kwa hakika alivyozungumza seneta wa Lamu ni kweli kwamba kuna mifuko kando kando ya serikali kuu, serikali ya ugatuzi, na hata katika mifuko ya hazina ya CDF bado kuna pesa ya kusaidia wale waathirika. Kwa nini mifuko hii yote ya pesa watu wasikae kwa pamoja? Kwa sababu tunaona sasa serikali, rais ameonyesha mfumo mzuri wa kuweka viongozi wote pamoja. Kwa nini maeneo kama ya Nyali Links ambao tunajua miaka nenda miaka rudi, mvua inaponyesha kupita kiasi maji hayapiti? Kwa mfano, tunapozungumzia kuwatayarisha wananchi na gatuzi kututayarisha, ni kwamba hatuzungumzii tu kuzibuliwa kwa njia za majitaka. Tunazungumzia kupewa vifaa wale wahudumu ambao watapeana huduma ya kwanza. Tunazungumzia ya kwamba wakati tunajua maji mingi yanaingia katika maeneo fulani na fulani, kuwe na shule ambazo tayari zimetayarishwa kuwapokea wale ambao ni waathiriwa wa masuala kama yale. Bwana Spika, tunaomba sisi kama bunge la Seneti tusiwe
Senator Hazana.
Mr. Speaker, mine is a request that you, if you deem it fit, to kindly refer my statement on the gang attacks in Samburu County to the relevant committee, especially the Committee on Interior and National, to the Committee on Security, given that it's a different matter from what Senator Lelegu had raised last week. This is about attacks in the towns. Thank you.
When you rose to make your request, you requested your matter to be taken to which committee?
To the Committee on Security, Mr. Speaker.
So be it. Senator Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I want to contribute on 3 statements. Statement number 1 is for Senator for Lamu. Honorable Speaker, the problem facing this country today from all the 47 counties are some governors are claiming to be having about 35% to up to 36% money on development. But if you go to those counties and see what they've done, it is less than 5%. So the issue that is on the newspaper, written everywhere, oh, this county is at 40%, 30%, 15%, but then in actual sense, development is at almost less than 10%, specifically northeastern counties. one of the counties which was given position number 1, is County of Marsabit, is at 36%. And I have a statement in that regard. And Mr. Speaker, if you look at what is happening in Marsabit, we are even at 6%. So I think I want to support what Senator Folam has brought, and I would want the committee concerned, Committee of Devolution, let them look at development projects in all the 47 counties. Let me also contribute on my friend, Senator Wajir Abbas Sheikh Mohammed. Honorable Speaker, last week I raised this issue on Kalaza. And I asked my friend, do you have any issue in Wajir? He said, no, I don't have any issue. And today he told me, my friend, my people are dying. And according to him, almost 15 people died. Honorable Speaker, Turkana County has similar problems, similar. And if you look at what the government is trying to do, they are trying to vaccinate animals to the tune of 22 million head of cattle. Why do you spend that money on animals? Why don't you spend that money on human people? People are dying, human beings. So I think with the broad-based government now, I think we have better eyes, better ears, and also better stomach. So let us think of how we are going to push these things and start caring about human lives. Number 3, Honorable Speaker, I will be added 1 minute. On the issue of KWS, Honorable Speaker, I raised this issue some time back on the issue of compensation. I want the committee. If you go to KWS, they will tell you the money is supposed to be paid by Treasury.
30 seconds to conclude.
If you go to Treasury, they will tell you no documents are with KWS. So my request to the committee, please invite KWS, Treasury, even the leaders from the 47 counties. Let them come and say what has been paid, what has not been paid, what has been also diverted to other uses, so that we can easily know these families are suffering. Some lost their fathers, their uncles, their sisters, their mothers. So let us take this matter very seriously and once and for all solve this problem. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Eddy.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, there's a statement here by the Senator for Kisumu on the viability, sustainability, and safety of Ombei dump site in Muhoroni sub-county, Kisumu County. Mr. Speaker, this is one of the statements, and I know that sometimes, or many times, Mr. Speaker, you're very, lenient, and you allow us to discuss issues as a House and in the committees without your hands in it. But, Mr. Speaker, I also know your leadership capability in terms of sometimes convening us in meetings that we call Kamukunji in this House to discuss matters of national importance as well as matters that affect the House. Mr. Speaker, this is a crisis statement. Have you imagined, Mr. Speaker, how we are dealing with waste management in our counties? Mr. Speaker, Migori County, where I come from, there is no any dump site. There is no any strategy of managing waste. There is no any instrument, infrastructure of managing waste where 1.2 million people are living, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, the kind of diseases that we are seeing emerging in our counties today, among them, Mr. Speaker, respiratory issues. If you think about air pollution that is coming in our counties, if you think at issues of eating crops that sewerages and open defecation, Mr. Speaker, are going into, the kind of lifestyle disease that we are facing today, Mr. Speaker, is just because of that lack of waste management, Mr. Speaker. I want you to imagine, Mr. Speaker, even in our hospitals today and all our health facilities, Think about it, Mr. Speaker, the amount of clinical wastes that are coming from these health facilities. Have we ever stopped to think about where are these clinical wastes going to? If today there's a clinical waste from any hospital in our counties, Mr. Speaker, where do they go to? Mr. Speaker, I think that even as you commit this particular statement to the relevant Committee of Health, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to invite your conscience. I want to prick your conscience, Mr. Speaker, that you can convene this House in a Kamkunji, Mr. Speaker, that it is high time as a House we discuss the issue of waste management in our counties and devise a way that can be able to deal with a strategy that can call upon our governors to invest on health matters the same way we have dealt with the issue of pending bills in the counties, Mr. Speaker, so that even as we send money to counties, Mr. Speaker, health management and in terms of waste management, Mr. Speaker, can become a priority in our counties. I support this statement, but I call your attention to it, Mr. Speaker, more than just a commitment to the committees. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well, Senator Mutinda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to start by commenting on the statement by Senator for Kisumu County, Senator Senior Counsel, in regards to the issue of the floods, which go back a bit of a step in regards to this issue, which is very critical, of waste management. Mr. Speaker, the essence of having a devolved government at this particular time, from when the decision was made, was to ensure that we have counties that are beautiful cities, counties that are also very accommodative to our people. We are in the rainy season, Mr. Speaker. From what we've seen previously happening, and the damages that come also with the heavy rainfalls that end up causing high levels of floods, if this waste management is not well done at this particular time, we leave our people at risk. We end up having high cost because now we are dealing with crisis. Instead of this particular moment having a preventive measure, Mr. Speaker, issues that range from our people are not able to have mobility because the roads have been completely damaged, they are flooded, the issue of this particular waterborne diseases that arise that affect from the young to the old, Mr. Speaker. So these are issues that the counties should be able to give the strategy management that they have, and also put competent people who are qualified to deal with disaster management crisis. This issue of just putting someone who's not even knowledgeable when it comes to matters waste management is then really affecting these counties. Madam, Mr. Speaker, allow me to also touch on the statement by Senator of Muranga, John Yotu, the statement that talks about this young soul of Class 8, Miss Mudhoni, in Muranga County, a young soul, Mr. Speaker, where we are as a country is so sickening, it's so saddening. The other few weeks we saw a rogue pastor from Nakuru County who has put churches across these different cities and is molesting young boys. And this is where, as parents, as a nation, we've, trusted the church, Mr. Speaker. And you find that a whole rogue pastor would be subjecting young kids to these issues of molestation. We want justice for Ms. Mudhoni, Mr. Speaker, on the relevant committee of security. Justice needs to be served for this young soul, for Christ's sake. A girl who has chosen to go to undertake.
1 minute, you conclude your remarks, Honorable Senator.
Touch now on the issue of the police from this Kanyenyaine police station, who, according to this statement, he said, after his hula baloo and after he's gone crazy and started beating everyone, what the institution did was to transfer. The question is very simple. How do you transfer one problem from one area to the other? How are we really solving this problem? What should have happened and what should still happen is that this particular officer should be taken for mental health services. He should be taken for counseling. You cannot now remove one problem to the other, putting in mind the kind of problems that we have. The femicide issues that are in place. Our young boys and girls. Mr. Speaker, we request that the recommendation from the Security Committee should be that this officer should serve as an example. Officers are not bad. I've just come from seeing one of the patients who actually, a very good police, was able to rescue them and take them to the nearest very good hospital without looking at any other thing. And they are very good police in this country. We appreciate them. But even those ones who undergo challenges, and because challenges are there, Mr. Speaker, they are there. And we've stated them. So these are also our brothers and sisters. He should be taken to the nearest health center for medical processing and all that before he's even transferred to his next place of work, so that he is able to undertake treatment the way it is required, Mr. Speaker. And finally, on the issue of people have a right to communicate, to express their freedom. It can be when people express their freedom on concerns, then they are subjected, to punishment. Mr. Speaker, is wrong, and this is in regards to the lady, Miss Lucy Murage and Nancy, as the senator had already put about on baby Ezra, when they were voicing out on the concerns about how this baby was killed. A young soul again. Which future generation are we working for? Which laws are we setting for the young generation to be, Mr. Speaker? If the same institutions cannot be able to be responsible for our young people, where will our children go, Mr. Speaker? With those many and few, we hope that the Standing Committee of Security will fast track these issues. And Mr. Speaker, let us speed on the reports for statements. Let us get quick feedbacks so that there is action that is also taken. Thank you so much.
Senator Mazayo.
Asante Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, nafikiri ungeweza kunitetea kutoka kwa watu ambao wanaingilia wakati kama mimi nimesimama. Bwana Spika, mstahiki Spika, kwanza nataka
Senator Wambua, what is your point of order? Take a seat, Senator Fakile.
Mr. Speaker, Senator Mazayo is my boss. When I walked in, Mr. Speaker, I was hardly unable to recognize him, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm just rising on a point of order, clarify from you whether Senator Mazayo is properly dressed for the mission that he wants to undertake in this House. I thank the Speaker.
Honorable Wambua, religious attire is one of the dress code that is allowable under the Speaker's rules. Senator Mazayo, proceed.
Mstahiki Spika. Mstahiki Spika, nataka kujiunga na taarifa iliyotolewa hapa na ndugu yetu Profesa Ojenda wa Kisumu. Na ni kweli naunga mkono taarifa hii ya kwamba mambo ya mafuriko katika Kenya, hususan pande za Kisumu, pande za Nyando, maeneo ya Nyando, huwa yanachangamkiwa sana na mafuriko. Na zaidi sana huwa tunaona kwamba wananchi wanaweza kupoteza maisha yao. Bwana Spika, tukizingatia vile vile hali ya mafuriko, ni wakati wa mvua ukifika, hakuna hata siku moja tumeweza kuona serikali yetu hii ya KK ikiweka kipaumbele mambo ya mafuriko. Kitu tunaona tu ni kwamba wananchi wengi wanachukuliwa na maji wakati wa mafuriko, wengine wanafariki, wengine wanaweza kutolewa katika maeneo ambayo yako chini kule walikoweza kujisitiri kimaisha kama nyumbani kwao, na hatimaye vile vile wale watu wetu wakaweza kuchukuliwa wakawekwa katika maeneo ambayo yako juu kidogo na mtu huko chini. Bwana Spika, nakumbuka hata katika wakati si mrefu sana, lakini kama ni karne moja, ni kama miaka kama 5 hivi 6, nikikumbuka upande wetu wa Kilifi County pia tulikuwa na janga hili la mafuriko. Na wakati mwingi tukapatikana na janga kama hili la mafuriko, inakuwa shida. Watoto, kina mama ndio wanapata tabu, hata wazee. kwa sababu maeneo yao wale wanaoishi wanaoita nyumbani yanachukuliwa na maji, yanaenda. Mifugo inachukuliwa na maji, yanaenda. Hata kuku pia wanachukuliwa na maji pia wanaenda. Na alafu hasara inakuwa kubwa sana. Bwana Spika, ingekuwa vyema ikiwa serikali inaweza kujiandaa na kujitayarisha vyema vizuri kuona ya kwamba wakati huu ambao mafuriko yanatarajiwa kuja, kama ukienda upande wa Bunyala utaona kila siku, kila mwaka ujao na uchao, kila tukiendelea mafuriko kule yanaua watu, yamechukua maeneo fulani. Kwa hiyo katika statement hii ningependa sana ilinganishwane katika maeneo yote katika nchi ya Kenya, kuonekana kule ambako kuna kuwa na mafuriko ya ambao yanaweza kuleta maisha ya wananchi kuweza kupata tabu na kuweza kuondoka manyumbani kwao na kuweza kupoteza mifugo na nyumba zao. Makaburi pia saa nyingine yanaoshwa. Kwa hiyo tunaona ya kwamba ni umuhimu serikali iweze kujiandaa na iweze kuona sasa wakati huu ambao unakuja, wakati wa mvua, imezingatia mambo ya mafuriko. Asante Bwana Spika.
Senator Abbas.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to contribute to the statement asked by Honorable Chute on the land of the Kenya Prison Services. Honorable Speaker, actually, it's very unfortunate in this country, at the rate at which the public land is disappearing, is so worrying. One thing people don't know is that when they see big land, they develop a lot of ability to grab it. But that land is meant, like the prisons, to do, to plant, do some kind of irrigation or food planting, do for training, to train the inmates, and then you get the food from there to subsidize whatever the government is giving, the little money that the government is giving. The land is never idle. But any Kenyan who makes little money wants to grab every land. Honorable Speaker, I want to inform the House that the other day we were in a committee of agriculture, and I was shocked that the land belonging to Kenya Vaccine Production Institute in Limuru was grabbed. Somebody grabbed 20 acres. They went to court. The land is 151 acres. And instead of getting back the 20, the court ruled that they forfeit the entire land of 150 acres. Where are we going in this country? The judiciary is just there. People are grabbing land. The courts are not protecting the land for the public. So, this business of grabbing land, and the public land, I think that needs to be, the anti-corruption must come out and reclaim back the public land. With those few remarks. Also, I want to add that the issue of the police officer, Honorable Speaker, this country is actually having a problem. The police officers are supposed to be the discipline forces. They should need to give the best example. But of course, what's happening today, haphazard shootings, people being killed, people being kidnapped, children being, mishandled, women mishandled in the prisons, in the police custody. It's a very unfortunate situation. I think there is need to take action. It's not, what happens is actually, most of these police officers who misbehave are transferred to maybe either to Wajir or Mandera or Turkana or Samburu. And that is why you're seeing there's no law and order in those places. They are taken as the law of jungles, and they can do anything they want. I think they should not be transferred. The police officers who are indisciplined should not be transferred. They should be disciplined or sacked or taken back for trainings. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Onyonka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to, first of all, commend my brother, Honorable Chute, for bringing this issue, which is very substantive, because you have an issue, Mr. Speaker, where all of us do not know what to do, because you have this private land, like Honorable Abbas has said, which is being taken over by private individuals and companies, and when somebody goes to court to sort out the issue, you find that the courts are not delivering fair judgment and all that. And I really wish that the Committee on Lands will handle this thing, and the government can take this thing very seriously and understand the implication of it. Because we don't want to encourage anarchy in our country. Let there be fairness, justice, and all those things that Kenyans want. The second issue, Mr. Speaker, I want to contribute on is the case which has been brought by Senator Lezena on the attacks that are happening in Samburu County. Mr. Speaker, when you look at her statement, these are 2-3 incidents which have happened. One was in December 2024 at the local Lake Oil petrol station at a place called Kisima Maralal Road. The second one was at a place called Isima, and Isima town. There was also a raid by gangs, and the third one, Mr. Speaker, is where a businessman was killed. I think the CS for Interior should seriously consider this matter, because this is not the only issue that has been brought out on what is happening internally. Kenyans have the capacity, the security forces can do their job. Can we make sure that people are safe and our country is operationalized? Finally, it's okay, Mr. Speaker. Senator Eddy can inform me.
Senator Eddy, you may proceed to inform your colleague.
Mr. Speaker, my brother, Senator Onyonka, wasn't here in the morning, which is forms the basis of my information to him. When the CS for Defense appeared, and the Senator for Meru, and is on record, did get up and indicated that there is some semblance of peace that has been found in that region. So I wanted to inform the Senator for Kisii that what the Senator for Meru implied at the backdrop of this statement is actually not true, and therefore, as he contributes, he can be able to further that thought that we haven't had enough peace in Samburu, as well as Baringo, because this problem is still going on, and we need to fight and make sure that they are dealt with once and for all, even as this statement has been contributed. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Onyonka, if you find that information useful, you may take it. If not, you may proceed with your remarks.
Thank you, sir. Senator Eddy, I didn't find that statement useful, that information, but I accept the data you've given me. Finally, I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that the human life, wildlife conflict in Lamu County, another matter that needs to be handled with care and with urgency, because this is not the first time it's happening. I believe that the committees responsible should interrogate these matters as soon as possible, because the small incidents you see happening, Mr. Speaker, will degenerate and end up becoming some of the big issues that affect our country. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to vent on this issue.
Senator Wambua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to make a comment on the statement brought to the House by Senator Tom Ojienda on the matter of the suitability and safety of Ombei dump site in Kisumu County. Mr. Speaker, there's a reason why the drafters of the Constitution in the fourth schedule, part 2, assigned the responsibility of refuse removal, dumps, and solid waste disposal, assigned that responsibility to county governments. The Speaker, even as I thank Senator Ojienda for coming up with this statement, it is my considered view, Mr. Speaker, that even as the committee retreats to look at this statement, this matter is a lot more weightier than just a statement being canvassed in a committee. Mr. Speaker, this is a matter, in my own view, that perhaps the senator would have considered bringing a motion in this House. Because, the Speaker, the issue of waste disposal and management in our counties has actually reached alarming levels. Mr. Speaker, you know, there is this old adage that every waste that has been generated in a county then should be recycled, and people get products from the recycled solid waste. But Mr. Speaker, we refuse to think slightly deeper than that and realize that, Mr. Speaker, first of all, not every waste is biodegradable. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, we have hospitals, dispensaries, health centers scattered all over our counties that nobody really looks into the issue of clinical waste management. Mr. Speaker, and I whispered this a few minutes to you ago, I had the misfortune of getting a story from a parent of a child who went on dump site in a county, I don't want to mention the county now, Mr. Speaker, and came back home with pieces of what looked like rotten flesh, which actually could have been human flesh. Mr. Speaker, the issue of management of waste in counties, both solid and liquid, is a matter for which I would urge a committee of health, if that's where this statement will end up, to consider developing a motion, which motion will set a process of every county, every senator, to go back to their counties and do a review of how waste in those counties is being managed, Mr. Speaker. And we come back here, there's 47 of us, and discuss waste management in our counties, Mr. Speaker. There is a problem in waste management in counties. That problem cannot be cured through a statement, though this is really a move in the right direction. Mr. Speaker, I support.
Honorable Senators, before I allow the clerk to call the next order, allow me to pass this message. Honorable Senators, I wish to report to the Senate that I have, pursuant to Standing Order 46.3, received the following message from the Speaker of the National Assembly regarding the decision of the National Assembly on the Senate amendments to the Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly Bill number 70 of 2023. The message, dated Wednesday, 12th of March 2025, was received in the office of the Clerk of the Senate on Wednesday, 12th March 2025. Pursuant to Standing Order 46.4, I now report the message. Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 41.1 and 148B of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the following message from the National Assembly. Whereas on Wednesday, the 6th of December 2023, the National Assembly passed the Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly Bill number 70 of 2023, and thereafter referred the bill to the Senate for consideration in accordance with Article 110.4 of the Constitution. And whereas on Tuesday, the 8th of October 2024, the Senate considered and passed the said bill with amendments and referred it back to the National Assembly in accordance with the provisions of Article 112.1b of the Constitution. Further, whereas on Thursday, 16th of January 2025, the National Assembly negatived a motion on consideration of the Senate amendments to the Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2023, thereby committing the bill to a mediation committee in accordance with the provisions of Article 112.2b of the Constitution. Now, therefore, in accordance with the provisions of Article 112 of the Constitution and Standing Orders 41.1 and 148b of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the said decision of the National Assembly to the Senate and seek the appointment of 9 senators to a mediation committee to consider the bill in accordance with Article 113 of the Constitution. Honorable Senators, consequent to the said decision, the Speaker of the National Assembly appointed the following members of the National Assembly to the mediation committee to consider the bill in accordance with Article 113 of the Constitution. The Honorable Daniel Wanyama, CBS MP, the Honorable Omboko Milema, CBS MP, the Honorable CPA Kuria Kimani, CBS MP, the Honorable Dr. Jacon Kosgei, MP, the Honorable Dominic Letipila, MP, the Honorable Kwenya Thuku, MP, the Honorable Dr. Ariko Namoit, MP, the Honorable Mark Nyamita, MP, and Honorable Dr. Irene Kasalu, MP. Now, Honorable Senators, pursuant to Article 113 of the Constitution and Standing Order 166-2 of the Senate, and in consultation with the Senate Majority Leader and the Senate Minority Leader, I have appointed the following senators to the Mediation Committee. 1, Senator Wakili Hilary Sigei, CBS MP, Senator Catherine Muma, MP, Senator Alan Kiprotich Chesang, MP, Senator Eddie Gisheru Okech, MP, Senator Julius Mugo Recha, CBS MP, Senator Isa Juma Boy, MP, Senator Beatrice Akinyi Ogola, MP, Senator Rafael Chimera Mwinzagu, MP, and Senator Esther Anyeni Okenyuri, MP. The Mediation Committee will attempt to develop a version of the bill that both houses will pass and table its report in both houses of Parliament. The House is so guided. Next order, clerk.
Order number 8, motion. Consideration of the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the 2025 Budget Policy Statement, Division.
Clerk, do we have the requisite number? So that order is deferred. Next order.
Order number 9, motion. Consideration of the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the 2025 Medium-Term Debt Management Strategy. Resumption of debate.
Now, honorable senators, at the interruption of debate, Senator Daniel Manzo had the floor with a balance of 13 minutes. He's not in the House, and therefore the floor is open. Senator Faki.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii kuchangia mjadala wa ripoti ya kamati ya fedha na bajeti ya bunge hili kuhusiana na mipango ya kudhibiti madeni katika mwaka 2025-26. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwanza ni kuwa hatuna habari nzuri kuhusiana na deni katika nchi yetu, kwa sababu deni limepanda kutoka trilioni 10.2 kufikia Juni mwaka jana mpaka trilioni 11 kufikia Januari 31 mwaka huu. Na deni hili Mheshimiwa Spika limeongezeka likiwa ni pamoja na deni la nyumbani la karibu trilioni 5.6 na deni la kimataifa yani la kutoka nchi za nje ambalo ni trilioni 5.4. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, katika mipango kama hii iliyoletwa mwaka jana, Hazina Kuu walikuwa wamependekeza kwamba japokuwa deni limepita kile kiwango kinachostahiki, yani 55% ya mapato ya nchi, wana mipango ya kuipunguza polepole kufikia mwaka 2027 deni hiyo itakuwa imefika katika kiwango cha 55% ambacho ndio sheria ambayo tulipitisha mwaka juzi inasema kuhusiana na deni ambalo liko katika nchi. Na mwelekeo ulioko Mheshimiwa Spika ni kuwa hili viwango vya deni hili havitapungua mpaka mwaka 2030. Na kwa sababu hiyo ndio kumeletwa mswada wa marekebisho ya sheria ya fedha, yani Public Finance Management Act, kuna mapendekezo ya kuibadilisha ili ile muhula wa kuhudumu uwe uanze wakati sheria hii itakapobadilishwa kuliko vile ambavyo tulipitishwa mwaka 2023. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa sababu hiyo ni kuwa tuendelea kuchukua deni, na deni hili litaweza kuathiri vizazi vijavyo, kwamba deni hili ambalo tunachukua sasa, Mheshimiwa Spika, mara nyingine hata hazina kuu haiwezi kueleza pesa zile zimetumika kivipi. Kwa mfano, Mheshimiwa Spika, jana tulipokuwa na mkutano wa kamati ya fedha na bajeti, Waziri Mbadi alieleza kamati kwamba mnamo tarehe 22 mwezi Agosti mwaka 2022 kulichukuliwa deni, kabla serikali hii ya sasa kuingia, kulichukuliwa deni la bilioni kadhaa, bilioni 41 nafikiri kama sikukosea. Na Mheshimiwa Spika hakuweza kueleza yeye kama waziri deni lile lilitumika kwa mambo gani katika nchi yetu. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, tunaona kwamba deni zinachukuliwa lakini hatuoni miradi yote ya kiserikali ambayo inafanyika. Vile vile kuna madeni ambayo yamechukuliwa lakini miradi haijaanza. Leo hapa asubuhi kulikuwa na waziri wa fedha wa maji akisema kwamba hakuna pesa za kulipa ridhaa wale ambao ardhi zao zinachukuliwa kwa ile miradi ya maji. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, ukiangalia katika wizara ya mawasiliano na barabara, kuna miradi mingi ambayo imeanzishwa kupitia kwa ufadhili wa wahisani wetu, lakini serikali haijaweza kulipa ridhaa wale ambao ardhi zao zinachukuliwa ili barabara zile ziweze kujengwa. Karibu nafikiri bilioni 200 zinahitajika, Mheshimiwa Spika, kulipa ridhaa wale ambao ardhi zao zinachukuliwa ili miradi ile iweze kufanyika. Kwa hivyo utapata, Mheshimiwa Spika, pesa zimekopwa, zimekaa katika akaunti, lakini hakuna kitu ambacho kinafanyika. Pesa ziko katika benki lakini hakuna mradi unaendelea, kwa sababu serikali haijaweza kuwalipa ridhaa wale ambao na ardhi zao zinaathirika na miradi ile. Vile vile kuna zile pesa ambazo zinalipwa kama inaitwa commitment fee ambayo serikali inalipa, na pesa hizi zinalipwa lakini hakuna kitu ambacho kinafanyika. Kwa hivyo tunaendelea kulipa madeni, Mheshimiwa Spika, wakati ile miradi ambayo inatakana kufanyika iliyofadhiliwa na miradi ile, Mheshimiwa Spika, haijaweza kufanya kazi, na vile vile pia ikaonekana kwamba kuna mazao yanapatikana katika miradi ile. Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo lingine ni kuwa serikali inavyokopa ndivyo ambavyo inazuia wafanyabiashara nchini kwetu kuweza kukopa na waweze kufanya biashara zao na waweze kupata faida ili waendelee kulipa kodi. Kwa sababu ikiwa serikali inashindana na wafanyabiashara katika mabenki kukopa pesa, serikali itaweza kukopa zaidi kuliko wafanyabiashara, kwa sababu serikali ina ile tunaita security ama ithibati ya kutosha kuhakikisha kwamba ule mkopo utalipwa. Lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, wale ambao wanakopa kama wafanyabiashara kibinafsi, wengine wamechukua mikopo kufanya miradi ya kaunti. Hivi sasa serikali za kaunti hazilipi. Vile vile wengine wamechukua mikopo kufanya miradi ya serikali kuu hailipi madeni yale. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, wengi miradi ya pesa, kwa mfano ufadhili katika benki hizi, Mheshimiwa Spika, utapendelea zaidi wachukue mikopo ya serikali, kwa sababu wana uhakika kwamba deni zao zitalipwa, kuliko kwa mtu binafsi ambaye ni mfanyabiashara, na hivyo basi biashara zitakufa na hatutaweza kukusanya kodi ya kutosha kuweza kulipia mikopo ile. Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo la mwisho kwa nataka kuzungumzia ni kwamba japokuwa serikali kuu ina nafasi ya kukopa, serikali za kaunti hazina nafasi kama hiyo ya kuweza kukopa. ikiwa watataka kukopa lazima wapitie kwa hazina kuu na kupata ruhusa ya kukopa huko, Mheshimiwa Spika, mara nyingi huwa ni shida kuweza kukopa. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, tunasema kwamba kwanza serikali lazima ipunguze matumizi yake. Si lazima wajenge masoko, si lazima kujengwe nyumba hizi ambazo zaitwa za wastani ili wananchi waweze kupata nyumba zile, Mheshimiwa Spika, yani affordable housing, Mheshimiwa Spika. Si lazima tufanye sasa, kwa sababu uchumi wetu kwa sasa hauwezi kubeba miradi yote hiyo na watuweze kupata maendeleo ambayo yatatuwezesha sisi kusonga mbele. Mheshimiwa Spika, tukiangalia katika sehemu nyingi miradi hii ya affordable imekwama kwa sababu ya ukosefu wa pesa. Hata wale wafanyabiashara wa kibinafsi ambao waliwekeza katika miradi hii, wengi wameshindwa kuweza kuuza nyumba hizi kwa sababu hakuna pesa mifukoni mwa Wakenya. Wakenya wengi hawawezi kudhibiti malipo ambayo yanatakana kulipia kila mwezi ama kila mara kwa mara ili waweze kuweza kuziweka nyumba hizi. Ukiangalia Mheshimiwa Spika, kuanzia Jumatatu na Jumanne labda mpaka Jumatano kuna kurasa zaidi ya 10 katika magazeti ambayo inaonyesha mali za Wakenya zinauzwa kwa sababu ya ukosefu wa kulipa madeni ambao wanachukua. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, hakuna haja ya kujenga nyumba hizi alafu nyumba zibaki mahame. Nyumba zihamie popo na wanyama wengine wanaishi katika nyumba hizo wakati wa Kenya hawawezi kumiliki nyumba hizo, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hivyo hii pia serikali kuu kuingilia kazi za kaunti, Mheshimiwa Spika. Unasikia kuna jengwa soko na serikali kuu mjini Mombasa. Wakati soko lile inapaswa kujengwa na kaunti ya Mombasa. Kilifi wanajengewa masoko. Ardhi za kaunti zinachukuliwa na serikali kuu kujengwa miradi ambayo serikali za kaunti inaweza kufanya. Tulipata Mheshimiwa Spika, tulipata experience kama hii wakati serikali kuu ilipokuja kujenga Mama Ngina waterfront. Wakasema sisi tutajenga hii alafu tutapeana kwa serikali ya kaunti ya Mombasa. Wakati huo waziri wa utalii alikuwa ni Mheshimiwa Balala. Haya, ikatoka title deed ya Mama Ngina waterfront ikapelekwa treasury kwa sababu imewekeza katika mradi ule wa Mama Ngina waterfront. Title deed sasa imetoka, nimeambiwa imekwenda katika, imerudi tena katika jenda, ofisi ya jenda, Mheshimiwa Spika. Sasa tunapelekwa huku na huku kama kupigwa mpira, Mheshimiwa Spika, wakati tunadai haki kama hiyo. Kwa hivyo hii miradi yote ambayo serikali kuu inapanga kufanya, wacha ifanywe na serikali za kaunti. Kama kuna pesa zitaka kufanya miradi hii, haiwezekani kwamba upande mmoja wanazuia pesa kuja kwenye kaunti. Tulipigana hapa katika kujadili division of revenue mpaka tukaenda mediation kwa sababu serikali ilikuwa haina pesa za kutosha. Wakatuongezea labda bilioni 5 peke yake kwenye zile ambazo walikuwa wamepanga kupeleka katika kaunti zetu. Na hivi sasa naona katika mwaka unaofuata pia, Mheshimiwa Spika, kutakuwa na mvutano sana kwa sababu kamati yetu ya fedha imependekeza bilioni 400 na 65. Na najua hapo kutakuwa na mvutano kwa sababu serikali kuu haiko tayari kupeleka pesa hizo katika kaunti. Lakini tukiangalia ile miradi ambayo serikali kuu inafanya, masoko wataka kujenga wao, nyumba wataka kujenga wao, Mheshimiwa Spika, pesa hizi zikikusanywa pamoja ni kidogo kuliko zile, ni nyingi kuliko zile ambalo sisi hivi sasa tumependekeza zipelekwe katika kaunti zetu kama mgao wa mwaka 2025 2026. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, kumalizia ni kwamba naunga mkono ripoti hii ambayo imeletwa na kamati hii yetu ya fedha na bajeti, na kwa tujaribu, Mheshimiwa Spika, kuhakikisha kwamba tunaiweka serikali mahali pake kwa masuala ya mikopo. Kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Spika, mikopo mingi ambayo yachukuliwa, na niliona hapa tulipofungua bunge ililetwa ile ripoti ya madeni ya nchi, lakini hatujapata fursa ya kuijadili kwa sababu tulikuwa tunajadiliana masuala ya hii budget policy statement pamoja na hii medium term debt management strategy. Lakini baada ya hapo tutaingilia masuala hiyo ya deni kwa sababu deni ndilo ambalo linatukwaza zaidi sisi wa Kenya katika kupata maendeleo yale ambayo tunastahili kuyapata kutoka kwa nchi yetu. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii.
Senator Mungatana.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me an opportunity to also debate this report on the medium-term debt management strategy of 2025. Mr. Speaker, it is possible for Kenya to be debt-free. It is not a dream, it's not a wish, it is possible. In the world, there are examples of countries that have managed to control their spending, to manage their finances to the extent that the debt to GDP ratio has become so insignificant that these countries have been named as debt-free. An example, Mr. Speaker, that is always given is Hong Kong, the Sultanate of Brunei, and the country known as Timor-Leste. These countries, Mr. Speaker, they have done something that is doable even within Kenya. And Mr. Speaker, even within the continent of Africa, despite the fact that we have so much debt as a combined continent, there are countries that have managed to secure their financial management system to the extent that the debt to GDP ratio has become so small that we laud them as countries that are almost heading towards debt-free status. Mr. Speaker, DRC here has a 6% debt to GDP ratio. If you look at a country like Namibia, Mr. Speaker, has 22% GDP to debt to GDP ratio. The country known as Sao Tome and Principe has a debt to GDP ratio of 32%. So what is this telling us, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, it is telling us even Kenya, with the correct approach and with the correct strategy, Kenya can actually be one of those economies that will be celebrated in the continent of Africa as being able to head towards a debt-free status. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the Committee of Finance led by Senator Roba for the fact that they have sat down and looked at possible ways in which we can manage our debt. Mr. Speaker, as stated by previous speakers on this matter, we are not in a good place as a country. In fact, Mr. Speaker, the report shows that we have continued to depend largely on domestic borrowing in this country, which has continued to squeeze credit that would have been available for traders and would have helped to stir economic development. Now, having said all that, people should not imagine that debt is a bad thing. In fact, debt is a very important tool for economic development. But it has to be sustainable. It has to be managed in a manner that will give results, that debt must be able to give the results that are intended. Mr. Speaker, Professor Njuguna Dungu, our former Minister in charge of the Treasury, has explained this very well, even in his academic writings, that debt in itself is not a bad thing, but are we managing it well? Are we doing well as a country? Mr. Speaker, like the previous speaker said, our public debt stock has risen so much. In fact, as of January 2025, the total public and publicly guaranteed debt stock in Kenya was standing at 11.02 trillion. And Mr. Speaker, this is projected to rise further. And we are told from the report that by June 2027, it is projected that this public debt and the publicly guaranteed debt will go to 13 trillion by June 2027. So, Mr. Speaker, are we doing well in terms of managing our debt? I think we have a problem. And that is why today, Mr. Speaker, I am very, very proud of the report and the recommendations that were made by our Senate committee. Mr. Speaker, the debt in itself, the debt stock and the servicing has great costs. And in Kenya, these costs continue to rise with the rise in the stock of public debt and the publicly guaranteed debt. So, Mr. Speaker, I think the recommendations that have been put, they need to be implemented, Mr. Speaker, at the highest speed possible. And some of these recommendations, Mr. Speaker, they have to do with transparency. Mr. Speaker, if you look at that report, it says the National Treasury, the Central Bank, and the Controller of Budget should fully automate the withdrawal of debt service payments from the Consolidated Fund by 31st May 2025. Additionally, an interagency report on the implementation status of these recommendations should be submitted to Parliament 15 days after the 31st May 2025. What is this recommendation saying, Mr. Speaker? It is saying that the withdrawal of the debt service payments are not automated. They are not fully automated, at least. What does it mean, Mr. Speaker? It means some monies can actually be withdrawn and they're supposed to be servicing debts or servicing the cost of debt, and yet we are dealing with paperwork that is physical. What does it mean, Mr. Speaker? We all know that when matters are not automated, when there is human interference, it means there is a possibility of pilferage, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this Senate report is telling us that in fact there's no transparency even in withdrawing the money and making those payments. Mr. Speaker, it is a shame. We have been independent for many decades now, and it cannot be that payment for withdrawal for payments on servicing our debt, part of it is manual. This is what it is suggested here, Mr. Speaker. I pray that by the 31st of May 2025, we will receive a report in this Senate that will be telling us that they have automated that. Because, Mr. Speaker, when you leave it to human interference, human judgments, it means this cost of debt is not what we are paying. Maybe, Mr. Speaker, is not really what is supposed to be paid. The ones that is automated, we can always look at it and get a proper report. The one that is not automated, and yet withdrawals are being made from the Consolidated Fund, from Treasury, from the Central Bank, and Mr. Speaker, it's manual. How can that be, Mr. Speaker? So, Mr. Speaker, I fully agree with this recommendation that the central bank must surely make arrangements to have these withdrawals to be automated. Mr. Speaker, there is also lack of financial controls, Mr. Speaker. And the Senate sitting here has recommended that in order to enhance financial control, to improve the accuracy and timeliness of public debt statistics, and strengthen decision-making for greater transparency and accountability, the National Treasury should integrate the public debt management system with the Integrated Financial Management System, IFMIS, by 31st of May 2025, and submit a report within 15 days of implementation. Mr. Speaker, this suggests that the National Treasury has not integrated the public debt management system with IFMIS. And when IFMIS was being brought to this country, it was touted as the system that would solve all the problems. In fact, it is said to be the integrated financial management system, that it is dealing with all issues to do with government matters relating to finances. And it is very strange, Mr. Speaker, when you look at what is happening, that the public debt management system is out of the IFMIS. And I've said previously in my statement that the previous recommendation is that it is not fully automated. Some of the payments of the monies in terms of interest or the cost of the loans we've taken are not automated. So here you have non-automation. And then here we have, again, the public debt management system is not in the IFMIS. Is this by design, Mr. Speaker? Or can we just say it is human error? No, there's a problem there, Mr. Speaker. Someone must be benefiting. And these are the hideous characters. And I've many times said that treasury there, it needs to be drained. Because how do you explain that, Mr. Speaker? How do we have the IFMIS, entire system of government, integrated financial management system, and then the debt management system is outside that? Mr. Speaker, Senate, through this report, is telling the Republic of Kenya that there's a problem in that treasury. And there's something that is not right. And we are saying by 31st of May, this system of public debt management should be integrated, and a report must be brought here so that Kenyans can know what is truly happening. Mr. Speaker, there's also another issue of transparency here, and it is saying that to enhance transparency and accountability in the anticipated increase in domestic borrowing, the National Treasury should within 60 days establish a working committee to develop criteria for assessing the effective utilization of borrowed funds by ministries, department, and agency MDS, and establish the registrar of government securities in accordance with Section 55 of the Public Finance Management Act. Mr. Speaker, many times, even during the campaigns, the question of accountability and clarity and transparency around our debt has been a very big political issue. Unfortunately, when we come into office, it goes quiet. Why, Mr. Speaker? I ask, why? So, Mr. Speaker, this working committee is supposed to develop the criteria for assessing what? the effective utilization of borrowed funds. Senator Faki has said that money is borrowed and then projects are not carried out because those borrowed funds have come, and then government of Kenya, the component is supposed to pay off persons affected by project, the PAPs, and they have not paid them. So the borrowed funds are in the coffers, but the project is not being carried out, and Kenyans don't see the benefit of this money. Mr. Speaker, what this Senate is saying is that we need to have a working committee to establish a criteria for assessing the effective utilization of borrowed funds. And Mr. Speaker, this is another issue that has hurt a lot of some of our counties, because people go and borrow money. And when they bring this money, Mr. Speaker, they do mega projects. Unfortunately, there's no equity in how these borrowed funds are spread across this county. Mr. Speaker, yesterday somebody said here in the floor of the Senate that he was shocked to learn that monies were borrowed, and these monies, they were benefiting one county, which was supposed to be built, I don't know how many hospitals and health centers, while his county got zero. Mr. Speaker, borrowed funds, we need to have equity. Counties, in fact, when this money is come, when this working committee starts working, they should tell us how much money has, for example, Tana River benefited from these borrowed funds, Mr. Speaker. We don't need to run for president for us to benefit from borrowed funds which all of us are paying taxes for, Mr. Speaker. This country needs to get out of this mentality that it is our time to eat. We must develop equity for the rest of our country. Mr. Speaker, I've just been looking at how the monies are being spread for these roads. You find our counties, a county like Tana River, we get almost nothing, while other counties are dominating the entire money. And those monies are borrowed funds, Mr. Speaker. So we are asking these working committees to be fair. They should they should actually publish. We should be honest in this country for us to heal the wounds that have created counties that are marginalized, like Tana River. We must start being honest. When we use this government of Kenya to go and collect money, and the debt we are all paying, all of us are paying, Mr. Speaker, the benefits of that debt must be spread across the counties so that all of us, even when we are paying this generation, the next generation, we should be paying knowing that, okay, that $7 billion that was borrowed, we also benefited as a county on this percentage. Because those statistics are not there. We are just told the national debt is at 11.02 trillion. The debt of public stock and publicly guaranteed debt is at 11.0. But you are not told how much of this 11.03 trillion went to Tana River County. And this country needs to start being honest, Mr. Speaker. It must be fair to all of us. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, the one issue that this Senate has recommended is that there must be a debt register which will detail on the utilization of borrowed funds, including a specific breakdown of project financed through the proceeds of infrastructure bonds. Mr. Speaker, these recommendations are very deep. And I pray that colleague senators would see what I see, because timelines have been given for these recommendations to be activated and actioned. Mr. Speaker, I pray that the Treasury, the Central Bank, and all those agencies that deal with matters finance will take the recommendation on this debt strategy management seriously in 2025, because for them it's like a normal thing. They don't see like it's a serious matter. People sit there, they just put us in debt, and then they are quickly telling us how bad the situation is. At every 100 shillings, we have to pay 70 shillings back for debt. Yes, we are paying that 70 shillings, but
very well. Thank you, Senator Mungatana. Next is Senator Dr. Oburu Oginga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand up to make my contribution to this very, very important subject of debt management for our country. Mr. Speaker, I must from the onset admit that there is no country which does not have debt. All countries, including the richest countries, still borrow money. Mr. Speaker, it is not the question of borrowing. It is the question of management, managing the funds that you borrow. Mr. Speaker, in our country, or in our continent, Africa, most of the countries were classified by the developed world as HIPIC. And Mr. Speaker, HIPIC means highly indebted poor countries of the world. Mr. Speaker, our country, Kenya, used to belong to that group of classification. We were a highly indebted poor countries of the world. And because you are highly indebted and you are also poor, your risk, the risk of investing in you, the risk of giving you debt or giving you loans is very, very high. And therefore, the tendency generally in the financial world is to make that capital very or that money borrowed very expensive, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you make it expensive for poor countries, the result is that they don't pay and they default in payment. And this is why the international financial arrangement was made in such a way that if you fall under the HIPIC, you would get cheaper loans on long term with long grace periods of repayment, but still you have to pay, and therefore when you get access to such loans, you don't access the commercial window in the international markets. Mr. Speaker, sir, our country moved out of that bracket of called HIPIC, and we were then classified as developing. Now, developing means we have access to the commercial window. That means we can borrow money from the commercial window. Mr. Speaker, this is a very, very dangerous thing, because when you are upgraded to access the commercial window, then it means that you have to be very careful, because a lot of countries would like to give you money. They would like to give you money like the Eurobond, the what, but those are monies which are to be paid in very short periods of time, and these are people who are in a hurry to make money. Therefore, our negotiators we have to train our people when they do financial negotiations with these people, because they are very smart and they have expertise, and a lot of expertise in negotiating some of these loans, Mr. Speaker. So you find that some of the loans are skewed, even though the policies were there. The policies which were there when I was there was, Mr. Speaker, sir, one of them was that any loan which does not contain a 35% grant within it was not touched by our government. Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether this policy is still there or not, but it was one of the things which was now making us difficult for many people who just want to make quick money to be running to the government to make that kind of quick money from that window. Mr. Speaker, sir, the other reason is that it makes it more difficult for you to negotiate the cheaper loans on long term with a longer grace period of negotiations, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, some of these people who give cheap loans, some of these multilateral institutions, they are very, very sensitive, Mr. Speaker. And there are a lot of projects in our country which are stalled, not for any other reason, but because of activism. Sometimes, I don't know, restriction. There's a lot of, when there is a lot of activism, for instance, if you query and there is an issue coming out that the people there have not been properly consulted on some issues, or even the issues of what you call aesthetics. Somebody comes and claims that this project is being implemented on my land where I buried my grandfather, and I have such a great attachment to that grandfather that this project is actually interfering with enjoyment of that right to have our grandfather's grave. That alone is enough to stop a project, and it takes more than a year to renegotiate and get that project back. I can give you an example. The Sondo Miriu project, there was just some activism. There are some people who wanted their voices to be heard. And when they raised it when the project was already on, and it took more than a year. The JICA funders who are funding that project in Japan took that matter to Japanese parliament and said that the locals are not are complaining about the land, that they have some attachment to it and they were not properly consulted. It took more than a year to renegotiate for them to come back. And that happens with World Bank projects, it happens with this. And I hope that some of these issues which sometimes occur are well taken care of by the implementers of these projects in our country, so that we don't get such delays in implementation. Because when you get delays in implementation, the interest keeps on accumulating. And even for that period when the project is stopped, the interest will continue to accumulate, and the taxpayers, the Kenyan taxpayers, will pay heavily for such incompetencies. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is very, very important that we look for alternative ways of development. We cannot concentrate on one way, which is just loans and raising the taxes. We can raise taxes. We can get loans, Mr. Speaker, but it might not be enough. There is a lot of money in the private hands. We need to tap that money in the private hands and use it for development, for the development of our country. It is being done in America. If you go there, you find big, big highways. They are all tall highways. They are tall highways, and these are built by private sector. And they developed systems of PPPs, public-private partnerships, long time. It took Kenya a very long time to develop policies which were acceptable to the private sector to start utilizing the PPP principle. Mr. Speaker, it started here just about 10 or so years ago, and this is an area which I would have advised our people to use effectively in comparison to negotiating too much, raising our debt levels too high. Mr. Speaker, the PPPs in infrastructure of roads, infrastructure of water, infrastructure of electricity and energy generally is something which is very, very handy, particularly in developing countries like India. India has very, very effectively used the PPPs, and we should take that example. If in Kenya there was one which was not very transparent, the Senate took the lead, Honorable Nyonka took the lead here in fighting for the rights of Kenyans to know what is happening, because it was not all that transparent. But that is a lesson to us. It is not because the PPP is wrong. I don't think Honorable Nyonka was fighting against the PPP principle. He was fighting against the transparency in the implementation of the project, so that people know that they are getting value for their money, so that those who can also do the same thing are given opportunity to compete and participate in those projects. And Mr. Speaker, sir, I sincerely believe that if we go this way, if we develop this system, it will help us to reduce our debt level. And I also want to commend Honorable Ngatana. He stressed very much on the issue of keeping records and digitalizing management of debt. This is long, long overdue. And Mr. Speaker, this is something which was started long when I was still there. And I'm quite surprised, Mr. Speaker. There must be something somewhere. Why this has not been done fully up to today? That is the way to go. And there must be people there who are either benefiting or I don't know for what reason, that has not been digitalized fully up to now, and it is recommended in the report that should be done as by yesterday. It is something which should be completed, and it is not something we should continue arguing about. All the offices which have been mentioned are there, and it is their responsibility. Otherwise, the Senate is going to make its recommendations, and we hope that the recommendations of the Senate are not going to be kept in the shelves. They are going to be implemented. Because in Kenya, we are used to having very, very good ideas. Very good ideas, better ideas than many countries around us. But many countries even steal our ideas and implement. Kenyans have those good ideas, but they never implement them. Mr. Speaker, sir, there is a country here called Botswana. It is not a rich country. It only has some mineral like diamond there, but most of the land is just arid and semi-arid. In fact, it is mostly arid, like our country, with 3/4 aridity. And Mr. Speaker, they have cattle, the same cattle like we have here. And they have managed to develop their meat industry, to protect their livestock, and do export of meat to countries which are nearer us here. And they have become so rich, Mr. Speaker, that they are actually funding the World Bank, and the World Bank gives us money. Because they have money which is kept, and it is called money for the future. It is not touched for recurrent expenditure. It is kept in an account where it is reinvested in other institutions, including the World Bank. And Mr. Speaker, that kind of example means that there is something we need to do. We need to do more in our country in order to reduce our debt levels, Mr. Speaker, in order to make sure that our people don't bear big burdens when there are opportunities open to them. All that we need to do is to enable them so that they can earn money and do their own things, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to contribute more on this. I thank you for the opportunity, and I hope that our report will be implemented and we shall be heard. And Mr. Speaker, there was a report here in Bunge some times ago when there was Elijah Mwangale on the JM Karaoke report, and he said there is a say in Kiluhia there, which says that the hyena was moving in the forest. He found a stone, and he told the stone, please hear me. The stone, please hear me. I'm talking to you, and I'm telling you to do the right thing. I'm telling the stone, even though you are quiet, but I'm sure you have heard.
Thank you for that story. Next is Senator Okechendi.
Mr. Speaker, it seems that we were supposed to go to the other side where probably there will be some stones. But I'm glad you have come to me, because I'm certainly not a stone. I've heard about what Senator Oburu has said, and I'm going to contribute more to what was said. And thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance, because, Mr. Speaker, midterm debt management strategy is the fundamental of budget making. In fact, Mr. Speaker, I don't know where we are losing the script as a house, to the extent that we can actually pass a BPS before we pass a midterm debt management strategy. Because a BPS gives us a focus of what the government wants to raise in the coming financial year. And it gives us a projection. For instance, this BPS for this year has given us a projection that's going to inform the finance bill that we want to raise about 4.3 trillion. But in that BPS, if you assess it, there is gaps on where we are going to raise this money. Where our ordinary revenue cannot be able to help us raise that money, then it fundamentally means that we have to borrow. And when we have to borrow, this is the suggestion that then comes with the midterm debt management strategy. So ordinarily, what we are passing here, Mr. Speaker, forms a foundation for passing the BPS, because it forms a foundation for which, as a House and as Parliament, we can be able to take control over the limits with which the government can then go and borrow. And Mr. Speaker, this is not just my wisdom or the wisdom of the committee. It is also the wisdom of our laws, Mr. Speaker. You know that the PFM Act, the PFM Act Section 33, and I think it is Cap 412A, requires that we must actually be able to look at medium-term debt management strategy so that we can be able to come up with a legal framework for which the government must think about sustainable way of raising money. And not just sustainable way of raising money, but also to look at the debt portfolio, Mr. Speaker, in such a way that that debt portfolio is actually going to inform what goes to the BPS and what doesn't go to the BPS in terms of physical discipline of government, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I dare say, and I'm not a prophet of doom, that if we continue this mismanagement between the MDTS and the BPS, Mr. Speaker, we might wake up in the next financial year with another Gen Z protest, because we are going to be forced to have a debt management strategy in the middle of a crisis, and then we're going to start talking about fiscal consolidation. Mr. Speaker, this is not something that we must take lightly as a parliament. And parliament must actually, through what we have proposed here from the finance committee that I sit in, Mr. Speaker, parliament must come back and take control of debt management in this country. It must come back and take control, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, you and I are children of debt. We are born out of debt, Mr. Speaker. We are born out of debt to the extent that there are two processes that are going on here. There's a debt that we are born into as a country that we must manage. And then there is constrained physical space that the government of the day must run the government, that then they must go into public borrowing, Mr. Speaker. If we don't participate in that process, Mr. Speaker, it becomes a problem. But I'm proud of this Senate, Mr. Speaker, because immediately when we came to this Senate, Mr. Speaker, we decided to review the PFM Act so that we could come up with what the sustainability in terms of our debt management looks like. And Mr. Speaker, remember, we passed a law in this House that directed the National Treasury that if you are going to be able to borrow, we must first of all look at our debt portfolio and make sure that the present value to GDP of our debt does not go beyond 55%. That's what we passed in this House, Mr. Speaker. But what has happened between June last year and today? Mr. Speaker, between June last year and today, our debt bumped to 10.58 trillion, which, Mr. Speaker, if you look at the present value to GDP ratio as per now, Mr. Speaker, we are at 63%. And Mr. Speaker, some theorists in the National Treasury might come and argue that it's not possible to actually achieve a 55% presence value to GDP ratio of our debt stock, Mr. Speaker, because of some numbers that they keep on bringing into this House in the BPS, Mr. Speaker, and they say that they're projecting that is a target that can only be met in 2028, 2029, Mr. Speaker. I am not persuaded with this, Mr. Speaker, because I am a student of Kibaki's free primary school education, Mr. Speaker. And during Kibaki's time, Mr. Speaker, I never even knew that I would even become anything close to a member of parliament in this country, Mr. Speaker. But at that time, Mr. Speaker, the present value to GDP ratio, Mr. Speaker, of our debt stock was at a whooping 2%. It was 2%, Mr. Speaker, meaning that there's something that has become rogue in this country, where the debt of this country, Mr. Speaker, is not spent on development. The debt of this country, Mr. Speaker, is spent in the mouth of individuals. It is spent in the mouth of people in power, Mr. Speaker, so that the money that we are borrowing, Mr. Speaker, never get anything done, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, how comes that in a BPS that is being proposed now, we are proposing to raise a variety of money, Mr. Speaker, to 4.3 trillion, and then, Mr. Speaker, we want to burden the country again, that out of that 4.3 trillion, Mr. Speaker, the cost of our debt, that means that the money that we'll be paying out of that money raised, Mr. Speaker, is going to be 1.97 trillion. That means basically, if you round off that number, we are going to be paying 2 trillion. We raised 4.3 trillion, Mr. Speaker, to pay 2 trillion in debt, Mr. Speaker. Are we slaves in our own country? And are we fine being slaves in our own country, Mr. Speaker? When we have got a PFM, Mr. Speaker, that has actually guided us, that in structuring our debt in this country, Mr. Speaker, we must also be able to look at how do we make our domestic market, domestic debt market, sustainable, Mr. Speaker. The same way Honorable Senator Mungatana has indicated that our domestic market, Mr. Speaker, is currently depressed. It is bleeding. It is hemorrhaging, Mr. Speaker. The domestic debt market is completely unsustainable, Mr. Speaker. Last year, Mr. Speaker, I was the same Finance and Budget Committee when we did propose that the only reason why we'll pass a BPS in this house is if the Treasury will help the country go to a 50%, 50-50 situation whereby the domestic debt will be 50% and the foreign market will be the external market, Mr. Speaker, will take the other 50%. What happened, Mr. Speaker? On the report that we have had now, Mr. Speaker, we have 30-70. 30% external, 70% domestic. Then what are we doing as a house? Why then do we sit and restructure debt, Mr. Speaker, and recommend certain numbers that can be able to allow that we don't face crowding out of our businesses, Mr. Speaker? Because, Mr. Speaker, what happens is the government has realized that the domestic market, despite the fact that it's the most expensive compared to the external market, Mr. Speaker, it is a very easy capital to come by. It's a very easy capital to get your hands into. And it's a very easy money to come from Equity Bank or to come from KCB or to come from Family Bank and then go to Central Bank. And because there's no automation, Mr. Speaker, you can quickly get your hands in some monies here and there and it gets lost somewhere, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, how is this possible? If you are coming here, Mr. Speaker, with a proposal, because if you look at the report that we have here, Mr. Speaker, we are being told as a parliament that we be comfortable that our gross, let me just get it, Mr. Speaker, because I don't want to say things that don't exist, because this is what has been proposed here, Mr. Speaker, that we be comfortable with a gross financing of a ratio of 25 to 75. That means that 25 is going to the external market and 75 to the domestic borrowing market. Mr. Speaker, last year we said that that gross borrowing must be 50%. How is it being proposed that now it has to be 75%? And Mr. Speaker, if you go to the net borrowing, the net financing strategy is 35 to 65%. Meaning that where Parliament has become comfortable in terms of becoming a rubber stamp in this process, because that's what we have become. We are a mere rubber stamp in this process of budget making, Mr. Speaker. Where we have become comfortable that we are a rubber stamp, the executive also becomes comfortable that, wait a minute, we can increase this domestic debt borrowing. Because it's easy money, it's quick money to get. We can just keep on increasing it, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, when you increase this domestic public borrowing, Mr. Speaker, what you are doing is that today you are killing Keroche breweries. Today, Mr. Speaker, it's not possible for Keroche to borrow and compete with government because the government borrowing is going to be lucrative for the commercial banks as possible, Mr. Speaker. Today, you are killing Bata. Today, you are killing Safaricom. Today, you are choosing to kill all the business that I see thriving in this economy, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, we have actually seen a number of our businesses closing down because out of this borrowing, and you want to raise a bigger deficit of about 900 billion, Mr. Speaker, which again has increased from 700 billion last year. What you're doing also is that as you increase the cost of borrowing in this country, Mr. Speaker, and the risk associated with it in the domestic market, what you're also doing, you are increasing taxes on these businesses. You are increasing taxes on these businesses, Mr. Speaker. The corporate tax, the income tax, and all the taxes that are going on in this country, Mr. Speaker, are making it virtually impossible even to think about a startup nation, Mr. Speaker. Businesses that could easily attract $500 million, Mr. Speaker, cannot get those monies in our economy today. Reason being, the structure of debt is not possible to get money to finance them in our economy. Our economy also, if it comes to startup market, Mr. Speaker, we don't have a thriving venture capitalist who can be able to actually backstop this idea of lack of credit in our commercial business, Mr. Speaker. Once you have credit, you know, Mr. Speaker, if you're in the US, I know people are arguing that there is no country that doesn't borrow. Yes, even the US borrows. That is true. The US has got debt, China borrows, other countries borrow. But the first thing, Mr. Speaker, is that when they borrow on their currency. So that the US is comfortable with their debt. If the worst will happen, the US will simply print their money and be able to pay. But us, when we borrow, we peg it to the dollar, Mr. Speaker. When we peg it to the dollar, any adjustments in the global market, Mr. Speaker, do affect us. Any adjustment in the global market economy, Mr. Speaker, do affect us. So our debt will continue piling and piling, Mr. Speaker, to the extent that if we approve what the Treasury is asking us to approve without juxtaposing it with the BPS, Mr. Speaker, what will happen is that by June of this year, Mr. Speaker, we will have a debt stock of 11.07 trillion. Mr. Speaker, you haven't even paid what you're born of. And I can see you, Mr. Speaker, when I look at you, you already have gray hair, Mr. Speaker. And you haven't paid the debt that you were born and found. Yet, in another 3 months, your debt stock as a country is going to 11.07 trillion, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, let me remind you that even this number is not factual. It's not a number that you can be comfortable defending. This is a number that we are given by the Treasury to defend its proposed ratio for borrowing, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Okech, what is the relationship between my gray hair and the debt management?
That's a good question, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the relationship is very simple. Since you are born up to now, you are almost going towards your old age, Mr. Speaker. You have been paying a lot of debt in this country that you don't understand, haven't helped you. And Mr. Speaker, I see you working very hard. Every day you are in this house, Mr. Speaker, to work for the nation. You are earning meager income, Mr. Speaker, which again, 50% of it must go to pay debt. And now I'm imagining, what will your children remain with? You have worked as a donkey for this country and you have paid everything. But now, what is going to happen to your children when you wake up in June and they have got 11.07 trillion worth of debt? This is what I'm crying, Mr. Speaker. I'm sympathizing with you. I'm empathizing with you, Mr. Speaker. And I hope that as a House, you will see how serious this thing is affecting us to the extent that we must take control over the debt management process, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, one thing that we must also insist in as a House, Mr. Speaker, the next time the National Treasury comes here, before we consider the BPS, Mr. Speaker, they must give us a scientific rationale of where they are coming up with these debt numbers, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, these debt numbers, if you go to the National Treasury, Mr. Speaker, they have got a different figure from the control of budget. They have got a different figure from the Auditor General. They have got a different figure from the Central Bank. Who is telling us the truth, Mr. Speaker? And as I've told you, that entire debt stock, Mr. Speaker, when it was borrowed, you were not explained to what it was going to do. When it's now being consumed, you are not told what it was going to do, Mr. Speaker. I remember in the former regime, Mr. Speaker, when there was a deficit of about 500 billion, Mr. Speaker. When it came, and from the Auditor General reports, Mr. Speaker, when you followed the 500 billion, Mr. Speaker, it was committed to infrastructure in one region, Mr. Speaker. How do you borrow 500 billion and then commit it in one region on infrastructure, Mr. Speaker? How is it fair? And that concern of that infrastructure, Mr. Speaker, Migori, where I come from, does not consume that infrastructure. I empathize with the senator of Kisii because he's always the most vocal about debt issues. Where he comes from, I did not see that money working in Kisii, Mr. Speaker. I didn't see that money in Turkana, Mr. Speaker. I didn't see that money in Mandera, Mr. Speaker. Yet the child from Mandera, Mr. Speaker, even Mr. Speaker, in where you come from in Meru, I looked at those numbers, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I didn't see that money in Meru. It was not there, 500 billion. And Mr. Speaker, today, when it comes to paying it, All of us must participate. And not just participate, it is equal distribution, Mr. Speaker. I pay the same amount of debt as the person from Tana River, Mr. Speaker, who when you go, Mr. Speaker, they are laboring in backbreaking dust every single day, riding border borders to make a living, Mr. Speaker. Then out of that dust, they must then pay tax, Mr. Speaker. Out of that tax, Mr. Speaker, they must pay equal amount of money as other regions that have benefited from this debt, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we must take control. We must not leave this debt management conversation to the Treasury, Mr. Speaker. We must take full control, and I'm very proud of our members of the Finance and Budget because they have been very engaged, and Mr. Speaker, you have seen them staying in this house as much as they can to be able to contribute in this house. I've seen Senator Ali Roba, Mr. Speaker, the chair of the Finance and Budget Committee, staying in this house till late hours, Mr. Speaker, to give you a snippet of what is happening in this country, Mr. Speaker. I've seen the Vice Chair, Madam and Senator Tabitha, Mr. Speaker, staying in this house till late hours, Mr. Speaker, so that she can give you just an idea of what we are struggling with in the Finance and Budget Committee, Mr. Speaker, to make sense to the CS of Finance, Mr. Speaker. I have seen Senator Boni Aluale staying in this house, Mr. Speaker, to give you just an idea of why we must manage this debt so that my fellow countrymen, people from Kuria, people from Masangora in Kuria, Mr. Speaker, people from Isibania in Kuria, people from Komosoko Nyamosenza in Kuria, Mr. Speaker, people from Makalda who do not understand this burden, why it must come to them, Mr. Speaker, can get reprieve. And Mr. Speaker, I hope that even as we pass this MDDS, Mr. Speaker, the recommendation that have been forwarded by this amazing Finance and Budget Committee, Mr. Speaker, will not go to vain, Mr. Speaker. We will not be confronted with the next MDTS, Mr. Speaker, that is brought to us on the basis of our recommendations that were never adhered to, Mr. Speaker. We cannot recommend that you go down on domestic borrowing, Mr. Speaker. We cannot recommend that the government goes down on, fiscal deficit that they have to bring it down, Mr. Speaker. Then the next year we are confronted with an increased fiscal deficit. Then we are confronted with an increased borrowing domestically without the Parliament having known that increased under our watch, Mr. Speaker. That must stop, as I support the Finance and Budget Committee, Mr. Speaker, for coming with this, and I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute on this particular motion. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well spoken. Senator Onyong Kalichand.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First of all, I would like to really commend my colleagues who have really articulated this issue as openly and as sincerely as we've been talking about it. I want to thank Honorable Buru Odinga for acknowledging that even when the model of PPP has been accepted as the modus operandi of how we are going to run our projects in terms of investments and all that we are supposed to do, that even when the PPP issue has been a hot topic in Kenya, that, Mr. Speaker, my hope and wish is that, yes, let us adopt the PPP model, but let us make sure that we are transparent, accountable, fair, and equitable in trying to distribute the resources of our country. Number two, I want to thank my colleague, my young Senator Eddie Okech, one of the very able individuals in this House who has contributed quite a bit, and I sit with him in the Finance Committee, and I'm proud of him, and I'm happy the issues he has raised are quite substantive, and many people may not see them. My leader, my friend, my brother, Honorable Okiya Omtata, Kenya will vindicate you. You have consistently raised these issues even before I came to the Senate. Some of us did not understand the weightiness and the importance of raising this issue. Senator Omtata, thank you for noticing that we need to separate the central bank and the Treasury from the executive. That is, in fact, one of the challenges that we are going to face as a committee, and we are going to interrogate this I also want to give credit to my brother, Honorable Mungatana. Thank you, sir. Your experience and time enables you to analyze these issues passionately. I believe that what you have discussed will make Kenya a better place. Mr. Speaker, the public debt management issue in our country is at a crisis level. The reason why I say this is because, Mr. Speaker, we have been looking, analyzing, discussing what is the cost of our debt? Why do we borrow so much money? Why is it that we, in the last 10 years, close to 12 years, we've actually increased our debt by 100%? When President Kibaki was President of the Republic of Kenya, our debt was, by the time he was living, 1.1 trillion shillings. After that period, and you look at where we are right now, our debt is close to 12 trillion. And the question that you ask when you sit in this house, what is it that we need to do to make sure that this exercise, which I personally call an exercise in futility, where we are borrowing excessively, where in fact we are borrowing domestically, Mr. Speaker, where the interest rates at which we are borrowing government money, state funds, you are now at about, some of the banks are giving us money at 12%, 16%. I am told one of the loans was borrowed at 18%. And yet, Mr. Speaker, you know that we can borrow money globally at the cost of 2%. We can actually reschedule Kenya's debts. All of them, all our debts can be rescheduled. We can go to the international money market. We can borrow at interest rates between 2 and 4%. And we can pay out all our debt, stock of debt, and make sure we begin afresh. These are the issues that I would want the committee to look at, and I would want this House to look at. Number two, Mr. Speaker, there was a basic operating standard procedure on how we used our borrowed money. What did we do, Mr. Speaker? The money would come. Normally, the rates at which we borrowed was at 30-70, like Senator Edia said. Domestically, we would borrow at 30%, because when you borrow domestically, then for the ordinary business person or the ordinary Kenyan, borrowing in commercial banks becomes more expensive, and the banks do not want to lend to ordinary business people. Why? Because of the cost of risk. The risk of where a commercial enterprise might borrow money and not deliver. So what happens is that commercial banks prefer when bills, bonds, and stocks is what they trade in, and the government is very comfortable at that. Why? I'm sure my brother Eddie and many other leaders here have talked about it. When you go and negotiate with a commercial bank and you are borrowing 1 trillion shillings, and this commercial bank is actually giving you this money at a certain percentage, information and data gets to us where people in government will go and negotiate with some of these commercial banks, and they will even enable these commercial banks, after they have borrowed money for the government, to allow the commercial bank to do overnight lending, where interest rates are delivered, are earned, and we never discussed these issues openly until recently when Okiya Omtata started discussing it. Why do we borrow? Mr. Speaker, we borrow because sometimes our budget has got gaps. Previously, the Kenyan government position, if you look at when Saitoti was the Minister for Finance, come up to President Kibaki and move on, you will realize that we were borrowing when we would need a stopgap measure where we would borrow most probably 5% or whatever the balance was, and then our budget would be balanced, and we would keep on moving as the economy was growing. What happened? Now we borrow for big projects. We borrow.
Wellness is important in our daily lives, so that instead of just surviving, we should be thriving.
Ways to prevent a stroke or heart attack is for you to know what conditions you have by regular checkup. People don't know they have hypertension. They don't know they have diabetes.
I was pre-diabetic. I was afraid of getting lifestyle diseases because I come from a family that has lifestyle diseases.
How do you know if your cough is due to a serious condition? We'll have some answers.
Stay well and strive to make every day a healthy day.
Amani ziwe juu yake, akizidisha juhudi katika ibada katika hii kumi hili la mwisho katika mwezi mtukufu wa Ramadhan. Ishhad an-nabii fauka ma kana yajtahidu fi ghayriha, alikuwa akizidisha juhudi ambazo alikuwa hazifanyi katika miezi mingine.
Moja katika faida ambazo Waislamu wanaweza pata katika kumi la mwisho la mwezi wa Ramadhan ni kupatikaniwa na usiku wa Lailatul.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahman.
The race for the cherished FIFA World Cup 2026 slot is heating up.
Olunga, the captain, he plays the right ball inside. Good first touch.
They change the lines as Aubameyang gets in behind here. A great opportunity for Aubameyang, and it's off the post.
Lined up on match day 6, Group F is Kenya against Gabon on Sunday, 23rd March at 4 p.m. from Nyayo National Stadium.
Comes back into the air, the keeper's come a long way.